I played the wrong intro.
Yo,
It's all right.
No.
This is the best gen and stuff where things used to be good and now they're not. Hey everybody, welcome back to Best Gen. I forgot to change my intro from the book club, so you got those sensual sounds of reading. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and it's called Best Gen because our movies were better than your movies, and movies nowadays aren't that good. Except this week we got a good one, and we're gonna talk about it. How's everybody doing?
Doing great.
Hey, that's the first time I've screwed that up in a very long time, though. So,
You know what? That's
hey,
okay.
and it's a symptom of me doing more shows, so you can't complain.
There you
I
go.
just forgot to switch over the intro and the outro. But if you're not watching Book Club, I don't know what you're doing with your life, because we just talked about Heretics of Dune, baby, and it was pretty freaking great. And we're going to be talking about Gunmetal Gods soon, which is, if you haven't read, I don't know what's wrong with you. And then we're going to do Chapter House Dune. Bearded showed up.
hey.
We are live.
I saw that you got live before I got in here. All right. I was finishing up Shogun. I should probably.
I already see a lot of people in chat. Mark Clark needs some fun tonight because it hasn't been a good day. Well, we're sorry. I hope our technical difficulties made you laugh. Maybe that made it better. David is not stuck in Wyoming again, but he's not gonna make it tonight. He's got stuff to do with his family, and that's okay. We love him anyway. We got the Underground. Thanks for joining. Rebel Moon is easily a 1 out of 10. I say, and you guys all know, I enjoyed watching part 1. I
Me
believe
too.
I said it. I believe I said every criticism anyone has ever levied against Rebel Moon is absolutely correct. I just believe that makes it like a 7 out of 10 instead of a 0 out of 10. I did not like part 2 at all.
Really?
It's like a 5 at best. Maybe a 4.
Moon Part 2. I started hearing people starting to talk about it, like, oh yeah, that's going to be coming out. I was like, is it really that?
Yeah,
Like, oh yeah, it's there because nobody really cares anymore after Part 1.
it's on the schedule. No,
Yeah.
I enjoyed part 1. I do not know why part 2 exists. Okay.
Are we going to talk about it now then?
We got Simply Nerdy in the chat. Let's go. It's gonna be fun. And oh goodness, where'd the intro? I know. What an intro. Here, do you want me? I can play the intro. You just have to sit through 30 seconds. Look. It's okay. I know I was there too. We don't. Okay. Whew. How's it going, Bearded?
I'm going. I'm still getting all settled because I was trying to finish up Shogun. I always save it for later in the week so that it's a little more fresh in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But my like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night are just always super busy. So I'm like, oh, let's save it for later in the week, and then it's like, oh, hey, it's Sunday. So, yep. But I just finished that, so that's good. Everything else is going all right. Still waiting for them to finish my sewer connection for my house so I can move in and have a new studio set up and all that. It's one of the things I'm theoretically kind of is my excuse that I'm waiting on for doing more with my channel.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I want it to look nice before I jump into it.
Exactly. Right.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Mexican? You said you haven't watched anything, but you still want to hang out.
Yeah, I'm just relaxing. I'm playing some Counter Strike. My kitty was over there sleeping, but now she's like, yeah. They have no food because the guy that buys the food, he didn't open up to the guy that sells the food. He didn't open up today, so I was like, oh, okay. He just didn't want to work today. He always works every day, so he's like kind of weird. So yeah, they have no food for tonight, so I don't know what to do with them. But other than that, I'm pretty okay, I guess. Like nothing that bad. Like I should be doing worse. Like you know, what did you call it? In my feelings, I should be doing worse, but I just said whatever. It is what it is, and just have fun. And I'm just chillaxing, doing what I want to do and love.
Hmm.
Doing a lot of stuff that I used to love. Watching bad movies that are like B movies from the 70s, 80s that I really enjoy watching because they are outrageous. They just don't make them like this anymore. Watching movies from the 90s like Mortal Kombat. I rewatched that. That was that was a good rewatch. I haven't
Have you
watched that in like
have you
10
seen
years.
both of them? The sequel to the Mortal Kombat one. The old
I watched the sequel because when I
awful.
was a kid, the sequel never came to Mexico. The one, the first one came to Mexico through the cable, and not even cable. Open TV or whatever you guys call it. And yeah, I watched it and I liked it when I was a kid because it was Mortal Kombat. I never was able to play Mortal Kombat because
Oh,
my
dude, I
mom
loved the first one.
play Mortal Kombat. So yeah, I love this. It's good fun. Luke Cage is hilarious. What is his name? No, Cage. What is his name? I don't remember.
Yeah, Luke Cage.
Yeah, Luke Cage. Yeah,
Well, there's Luke Cage, or there's okay, yeah,
the superstar. Yeah, the Ryan Gosling of his time. Imagine if Ryan Gosling would have played Luke Cage, that would have been sick. But whatever.
He just gets drafted into Mortal Kombat because he's a famous actor. We still haven't convinced you to start watching Shogun somehow.
I mean, it's not that I'm not convinced. It's just that, what is it? Amazon?
It's Hulu.
Hulu.
Oh, but there's no Hulu in Mexico, bro.
You don't
It'd
need
probably
to
be
find
on Disney Plus with Star or whatever else you might have down there because it's wherever FX stuff goes. So
Oh, maybe it's in Star. Maybe when I get my next paycheck and yeah. I
yeah. Oh,
can
that's
maybe
the other
Star.
thing. And noticing what's on the schedule here is yes, absolutely, gentlemen. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was freaking awesome.
You
I just
saw it?
think-
Okay,
yeah.
then we can at least. No one else watched it, apparently. So, but I'm glad we
Honestly,
can have a discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fallout was supposed to be on the schedule. Mark Clark, I'm sorry. We're so sorry you're stuck in an elevator, but we're going to entertain you while you are.
Yeah.
I think I know what we're going to replace it with, though.
Yeah.
And it came out of nowhere. The Jinx Part 2 just dropped.
The Jinx.
Okay.
How about that?
If you guys haven't watched The Jinx, do it. It's a documentary. How have you not seen it?
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it.
Have you heard of Robert Durst?
Yes.
He is infamous. He murdered a whole bunch of people and got away with it. OJ was more famous because he was, a cultural phenomenon, but you should definitely learn about Robert Durst. And the reason why the Jinx was so the Jinx so good is he was arrested because of the documentary.
LOL.
Really?
So he was put on trial, but the prosecution was retarded and the defense was really, really good. And his defense literally was, yes, I killed this. They caught him with a chopped up body in his trunk. And he got away with it. Because the defense was, the DA has been trying to get me for murder for so long. They were trying to try him for a whole bunch of other things because he did them. And his defense was, this malicious DA has been hunting me down for so long that when this guy came over and died accidentally, I panicked and knew it would be pinned on me. So I chopped up the body and was going to dispose of it. And it worked. It worked. Watch The Jinx, okay?
Was he black or white?
He's a white guy. No, the guy he killed was black. Okay. Seriously, watch The Jinx. It is one of the most fascinating,
Oh
but because
God.
of information that they discovered while making the documentary, they were able, they got him. He literally confessed on a hot mic when he went to the bathroom. It's so good.
Oh, I think I heard something about that.
It's because they found new evidence and confronted him with it, and he started panicking and went to the bathroom and kept talking into his microphone.
That's wild. I did hear about that.
And they just dropped part 2, which is the follow up of the aftermath of all of this.
Kind of weird.
No, it is probably it's the most interesting true crime of all time. They dropped 3 episodes? No, just the first 2. They dropped the first 2 today, and then it's going to be kind of weekly. It's going to be like 2 episodes apiece. But
I think Velma is coming out next week too. So
Velma? Did they finally announce Velma?
Velma season 2, yeah,
Oh boy.
coming out next week. I'm not even joking.
Wait, but with this Jinx,
Sorry. I thought you were talking about Primos. Yeah, I knew Velma was coming out. I got excited.
the Jinx is on Apple TV, right?
No, it's HBO.
Oh, it's HBO.
Seriously,
okay.
if you watch it, I'm so excited, and I didn't even know a part 2 was coming. They just announced it. Hey, we did more stuff. It is just so well made and so engrossing.
That's wild.
It is one of the craziest criminal trials of all time.
Looks like they've got a planned six episodes for this season. For this part 2. Because that's what Wikipedia.
That's why. Okay. I'm doubling up. Yeah, I'm seeing 6. Yeah, that's why it looked like it's going to be weekly then. It's just listed twice each episode for some reason. Good catch. Yeah, 6 episodes.
But Velma is coming out next week, right?
I don't know. Is it? That'd be great if it. I didn't watch any of it last time.
The Witch? What was that new one you added? You said Mexican?
Velma.
Is Velma coming out next week? I think
The
so. I don't
25th.
know. Okay.
So yeah,
That's
this week.
Perfect for
Well,
my birthday. Perfect for my birthday.
With the second season of Velma.
Yeah, but they're calling it season 2, but it's technically not. It's just it's the second half of season 1.
Oh yeah, because
That's what everyone was freaking out about. Everyone was
freaking.
freaking out. I can't believe they renewed this show. They didn't.
Yeah,
They were hired to make 20 episodes, and then when they realized how crappy it was, they're like, we'll just call this season 1, I guess.
So they're dropping a part 2 of season 1 or whatever.
It's called they're calling it season 2, but it's not.
How long ago did the previous
Last year.
episodes?
It was February of last year.
Okay, so over a year ago.
Yeah, about. It's pretty close.
It's been a year. Oh my god.
A 2-month buffer is fine.
You know what I think is
If
crazy?
it was 2 months, sure, but a year and 2 months.
Yeah, a year and 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even drop a trailer. Like they just dropped in the show.
Well, I don't think I heard a whole lot of good about the show, so I don't think that they were expecting to get much traction. They were like, well, we better just put it out because we did it.
Yeah. Or did they drop a trailer? I don't even remember. I think they did drop a trailer. I think they are self-aware. Not that self-aware.
Uh-huh.
It's possible.
I saw an announcement. I don't even know if it was considered a trailer or showed any footage from season 2, but I saw an announcement video on YouTube. Anyway, I'm not going to force you guys to watch that.
I know. I'm just gonna watch.
I mean, Mexico's going to do it because he's a masochist. But
I'm gonna force you to watch the reviews. That is.
Yeah, I was gonna say we just need. Never mind, my brain just went blank. Anyway, well, today we're gonna have Bearded and I are gonna have a wonderful discussion on ungentlemanly warfare. Probably save that for the end. We've got the penultimate episode of Shogun, Also,
And the deal is still on the table if that video gets 1,000 likes. It's not
No.
I mean, I guess if the episode itself gets 1,000 likes, sure, that's a harder sell. That's why I clipped it.
Right.
If that video gets 1,000 likes, I will shave my head for the cosplay.
Where are we sitting so far?
30.
30.
I am in cold water. I
Yeah.
am not worried about this.
I was gonna say it might have been good to put some sort of deadline on there and be like, you know what, if I get a
Oh, I
1,000
did. Yeah. By next Sunday, so you get extra time.
Yeah, because I would have understood if you'd said by this week, because if you were going to be continuing the cosplay to this week, that you needed to be done by this week. But
Yeah.
it's cool that you're giving us the extra week. I'll figure out some way to push it.
Because I mean, realistically, it should be the deal ends on Tuesday.
Right.
But I'm so confident that this won't happen that you have till Sunday. Well, I mean, I'd have to shave. I would need time. So Saturday at midnight.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Oh boy! But did everyone else besides Mexa watch Shogun?
Maybe no. You know what? Fine. I'll give you till Sunday, and if it gets well, I'll let David do it.
Oh, there you go. Go live on stream.
Sure.
Shoot.
Oh man.
Oh no,
Mexa.
we lost our diversity.
No.
Come back. I've already bought it. I've already bought the next Sanderson book. I'm going. So I'm going to Dragonsteel.
I am just waiting for me to actually have an income, and I will then be getting tickets for
I
Dragon.
still haven't heard back if my booth application has been accepted or not. So we'll see.
Really?
We shall see. I assume it takes a while.
Yeah.
May 7th. Wait, what's May 7th?
Isn't May 7th when the tickets go on sale, though?
Oh, yeah, that's when that... Right, sure. That makes sense. Anyway, there's Shogun, there's Rebel Moon, right? I already forgot about it.
Tell me about Rebel Moon. I want to hear how bad it is because I don't want to watch it.
I was going to say, because none of us have
Remember
seen
that, then?
it. Really
Okay.
worried about it.
All right, let's talk Rebel Moon then. This is a good... We'll talk
Okay.
Rebel Moon. And again, as someone who... I know that part 1 was a bad movie, but I enjoyed watching it. I think it's like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like slightly above average. Maybe I could be argued into a 6. It's not. It's like it's probably a 6 out of 10, but I enjoy it more than a 6 out of 10 movie because it's like fast food. It's Taco Bell.
I think I'm letting the negative talk around it bring my view of it down a little bit. But I remember having fun watching.
I watched it twice.
Like it was enjoyable. Yeah. It wasn't great, but it was enjoyable. So yeah, I'm probably right around there.
Okay, so as someone who enjoyed part 1, and I've already said I didn't like it. There is absolutely no reason that part 2 could not have been included in part 1, tacked onto the end, and it only would have taken like 20 minutes.
Oh goodness!
There is so much filler in part 2.
There's a lot of filler.
More than half of the movie is in slow motion. No, and I know that like that's the common criticism. No, like it's legitimately bad. There's slow motion for absolutely no reason in this film, and I am a defender of Zack Snyder's slow motion. I think a lot of times when he uses it, I think it's freaking cool. Like when he does the zoom in, zoom out thing in 300, it's freaking awesome, okay? And I think his ability to frame shots in his DC movies that literally look like they're pulled from a comic book is awesome. But please, for the love of all that is holy, Zack Snyder, let someone else write your freaking scripts. I don't like this part 2, it's not good. And I really want to like it because it's mostly practical. There's not there's a little bit of green screen background replacement, but like most of the spectacle, it's like 90% practical.
Nice.
Like I've seen like behind the scenes stuff. Like these fight scenes could have been so good, but they were in slow motion and they weren't exciting.
Oof.
If you're gonna do slow motion, you slow motion like the important part, like slow down the action that's so fast you can't see it, right? When you twist the blade in midair and you have to catch it so you can stab the bad guy, like you show that, so you use slow motion to show the calculations of inhuman speed. Oh man, it's bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
I liked it. It was fun.
You liked part 2?
Yeah, I liked part 2. Here's the thing though. There's obviously a lot of filler because the whole part 2 is just the fight, right?
Yeah.
Like, it seriously is just the fight.
And somehow it manages to not just be the fight.
Yeah,
and they take 30 minutes to sit around a campfire at night and take turns telling their backstories.
Okay,
and every time they cut to a backstory, I was like, this is more interesting than than the story. Like some of the backstories, I was like, can we just do this? Can we just have had a movie about this?
Introduce that, and they're like, hey, okay, let's.
Hey, we got Pulp Mortem in the chat. Howdy, boys.
But yeah, I agree that it probably didn't have to be its own 2-hour film because the whole 2-hour film was basically just them fighting.
It could have been 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean maybe like 30 or 40, but yeah, that's pretty much all it was. And so there wasn't really a lot of plot. It was just them arriving, and then they make their preparations, and then they blow up the Juggernaut, and then everybody's fighting, and they kill the guy again.
Before we continue, Pulp Mortem, thanks for coming on, or not coming on, but joining the stream. But we have problems because you wanted to come on and talk about Fallout, but Fallout's over because I swear they said it was going to be weekly. When I put it on the schedule, I looked it up and it was supposed to be a weekly release.
I've heard people saying that they switched last minute to it being.
So we can still talk about it, but we might have to find something else to discuss.
Well, and that's the other thing though too. So I haven't I've been wanting to get back to it. I just haven't because that's again the problem with the binge model is it's all dropped at once.
Yeah.
Everybody's a bunch of people are already ahead. I'm behind. I don't have as much urgency to watch it because and there's so much of it to try to watch that I'm just not getting to it. But maybe by the time you were originally planning on having Pulp Mortem on there, maybe I'll have finished it. We can actually have a conversation about it all.
Right, like literally the only reason I was able to finish it in the same week it dropped is because I had sick kids. Right, so I was like, okay, let's just watch TV.
Yeah.
I ended up finishing that as well.
Talk about Fallout New Vegas. I'd have to play it, right? Anyway, all right, Rebel Moon Part 2.
So yeah, I think Rebel Moon. I enjoyed watching it because like you were saying, I think there were some cool fight moments, right, where they're doing a backflip or and freezing or stuff like that.
They set up some really impressive set pieces.
I mean, and I really enjoyed the whole robot. The robot,
and he's in 10 minutes of the film, and
I agree.
He was the best part of part 1 and the best part of this, and he's not in it.
Maybe it's going to be a lot more of it in part 2. That's what I was kind of thinking. This is going to be cool to see.
It's literally the meme. It's literally Deus Ex Machina, except it's not because he was there from the beginning. He doesn't come out of nowhere. He just chooses to only show up at the end. He's watching the whole thing.
It's Chekhov's gun Ex Machina.
But I think so. The thing about this one is that they've really set it up to be to set up the third one, right? So I think there's going to be another one.
I'm sorry, but you can't take 2 movies just to set up the third movie.
I agree.
We promise the third one's going to be good.
Well, they sold it as a 2-part thing to then just say oh yeah, by the way, there's going to be we're doing this all to tease you for another.
Well, I mean, the way that they end it.
What?
The way that they end it, it definitely seems like there's a third part. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, but it feels like there's definitely a third part.
That's frustrating and disappointing and such. Oh man.
So that's the thing,
here's my
like this.
question. You said
Yeah, at the end, I was literally like, "Oh, okay." So now they're gonna get into it. Like now they're actually gonna get into like a rebellion.
like
you know?
part one was kind of like, okay, this is a kind of cool story. Like we did our thing, and we got a little tease for the like, oh, but there's going to be something coming.
Yeah, we got
And so
20 minutes.
Not something coming yet, but part 3 is going to be something coming. Oh, goodness.
I think it might be. Yeah.
We got 20 minutes of farming in this movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Okay, we got to bring the grain in. Like,
Here's my question.
And they were doing it all by hand. And that makes no sense. Like, if this grain is so important to the empire, there's absolutely no way that the amount of grain a podunk tiny village could harvest in 3 days would be of any consequence.
well, but that's
By hand. If they had machines doing it.
But that was set up in the first movie, right? Because the first movie, like the juggernaut, I mean the ship usually comes around like every half year or every year, right? And so they usually have the whole year to get the grain ready. And then this one, they basically said,
harvest.
okay, we're gonna. Yeah, they came and it wasn't ready, and so they said, okay, we'll come back in a certain time. So that's basically what that was set up.
No. I get that. The point is, if you the amount of grain that you can harvest by hand in 3 days is not going to be that much.
Well, I know, but
it's not going to be enough that's consequential.
It's got to be then some sort of a miracle grain that like one grain is worth like thousands.
Right. If this was spice, If this was spice, it would make sense. But it's wheat.
Grain, yeah. So here's my
absolutely
question.
Hard agree. The best Kurosawa remake is the Three Amigos.
Here's
fantastic
for you then, with regards to what you said. You said that you were looking at Zack Snyder and saying, "Please let someone else write your scripts."
Yeah.
So who is a better scriptwriter?
Literally anyone.
I was going to say George Lucas.
I would take whoever wrote the Marvels over this.
So this is my comparison though. This is my question: George Lucas or Zack Snyder? Because we're looking at kind of similar playing fields with this, where interesting filmmakers,
George Lucas,
cool stories, and that really says a lot. Because boy, is he's a great storyteller, not a great screenwriter. So,
no, that's a good comparison. I'd take George Lucas.
You take George over that. Okay, all right, good to know. Interesting.
Over this, right?
Over
if
this, Jar Jar Beans, yeah. Over this.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. If there's anything else you have to say on that.
Like I went and I'm shocked that I didn't like it. I went in wanting to like this. I wanted to once again be the naysayer and be like, "No, Rebel Moon's good, guys." But holy cow, I just couldn't. I wasn't hating it, but I was just sitting there waiting to like it, and it never happened. It never came.
Yeah, I mean, I think
much like my dad. He was supposed to pick me up for the baseball game, and he never showed up.
Just give him milk. It's all right. He'll
just keep practicing your swing.
Look, he promised that we'd go to the game.
Oh yeah, okay. But yeah, so I think that's really it was fun to watch, but yeah,
okay. The stuff that was good. Let's talk about stuff I did like. Hold on. What was? There was a moment, and I can't remember what it was. I liked. Okay. A good idea, which I actually liked, and was a clear homage to Star Wars without just completely ripping it off. I loved the how what's the Korra? Is that her name? Is that the lady's name?
Yeah, that's.
I loved how Korra and boyfriend. What's
I don't know.
I don't know any of these people's names.
Yeah,
except Nemesis, which is because it's stupid.
Titus.
I really liked their role in the battle was to get aboard the mothership, and how they used her pod and made it used a little smoke grenade to get aboard the enemy ship. I thought that was a clever idea, and I liked where that was going. And the ultimate like fight scene on the ship as it was crashing was good and ended very poorly.
Well, it was like very predictable. Yeah.
Right. I was enjoying it until like it ended, and I was like, oh, that was it. And it very much felt like there were so many points where like we're going to cut away because we can't show this in the PG-13 version, right?
Well, the thing too with that last scene is that like she's literally falling down this thing, right? And then she like slams onto the ground, and it like shows her kind of hit it weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, after a fall like that, there's no way that your body would survive that. But she just gets up and like it didn't even happen, you know. The only thing that really made her weak was the guy strangling her after that. So I agree. Like that whole fight scene was just at the end. I think was kind of anticlimactic. But it was good plan. I like the plan.
I'm sure this is a great joke, but I haven't played the Resident Evil games because I'm a sheltered boy. I didn't own I saved up money to buy like video games, and my parents didn't. My parents were very anti-video game, but I eventually convinced them after years of saving my money and begging them. When I was 16, I went out and bought a PlayStation 2. So
Nice.
My brother did the same thing, except he snuck out and hid the PlayStation in like he was like, oh, I had so much fun working with Grandpa on the ranch. I wanted to make something by hand, and so he made a like cabinet and then snuck it in and hid it in the cabinet and like had a TV in his room too. And yeah,
but even then, like our parents wouldn't let us like buy mature games. I did sneak one by. I snuck one by because it was a sequel. The first game was like, what are the ratings for games? It's not Peggy 18. That's there's the teen, right? So I think it was.
E for everyone.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. It was the Prince of Persia. It was Prince of Persia. So the first one was teen.
Yeah, teen.
And I didn't tell my mom that the sequels were mature. And then when she saw the M on it, I was like, the M means medium, Mom. It doesn't.
That's interesting.
I'm apparently watching now.
I told my mom that the M was for minor.
Minor.
Yeah.
So the Prince of Persia 2 and 3 were probably the only like mature games I got to play in my childhood.
Those were good games, though. Shoot.
Oh, I loved Prince of Persia, baby.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was cool, I like the those swords, like the electric,
okay, I was about to bring that up.
Magna swords. I mean,
I really like how they look, like the smoke and the way that the effect on them. How it's like you get like the visual distortion around them. I think it looks really cool. But the problem is this was clearly a Star Wars script, and laser swords work when you have the Force. But what was the point of the swords in this movie? And please tell me how it is a better option than a gun. If you don't have the Force, and they showed people deflecting bullets too, but offered no explanation as to how a regular human could have the ability to deflect like a laser, which like a laser gun is probably moving pretty fast. I mean, close to maybe light speed, which is faster than a bullet.
I was gonna say, if it was actual bullets, we do see that sort of thing nodded to in samurai films and all that, where they're just that skilled to be able to like.
I loved
superhero-y over the top, sure, but
right.
Lasers, then,
but he needed just like literally just needed a throwaway line that yes, the Korra is a kind of a superhuman, and she has enhanced reflexes, and the other like when Nemesis chops off her arms. So, like, that made no sense to me. But apparently, the laser swords are too hot to hold with regular hands. And so she had to chop off her hands and replace them with mechanical hands so that she can use the swords.
it does make me
And
wonder.
then Cora solves the problem at the end of the movie by wrapping a piece of cloth around the handle instead of chopping off her own arm so that she can use the laser swords. That was retarded. Okay? But again, I love how they looked.
That's
And
cool.
I loved the effect, whatever that we're doing, when people would get hit by a laser gun and you got like
the molten?
instead of blood, you got like molten plasma that would like
Yeah.
like shoot out of these. Like
Yeah.
it looked really freaking cool.
Well, and I think that's why I enjoyed it, is because of those little effects where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this looks cool.
It's just too bad that the story was just not existent.
So I wonder. It kind of makes me wonder what changes were made to make this from a Star Wars script to a not Star Wars script. Obviously, those
Apparently, nothing.
be force sensitive, and that's why but we have to find some reason. Those are the kinds of things that make me wonder. And then was Nemesis then supposed to have been not force sensitive, but maybe needed to be a
Jared,
kind of droid?
they didn't make any changes, and that's the problem. It doesn't make sense.
No, I think they just didn't make enough changes because obviously, they'd have had to take out any references to the Force, or I don't know. But still, ugh.
Also, I loved the part when the lesbian shaved head chick shot a bazooka into melee range.
I know, and all she did
And
was,
they didn't have to do it that way. They showed the thing, and they showed her, and she grabs it and shoots it, and then it pans out, and she's standing right next to it.
right next to you. Yeah, I did see that.
Oh, and then survived. Also, there were way too many moments in the fight scene where people left cover to shoot guns in slow motion, and there were no consequences for it. And Titus, that one scene where he's charging the bridge, and instead of just shooting everybody, he picks up a guy and throws him over.
Yeah.
And behind him, there's 10 people with guns pointed at him, and I was like, "What?" He's dead, and the only reason he didn't die is because robot guy showed up and made an explosion that distracted them. But I was like, Titus is an idiot. This is not a general. This is not some strategic mastermind.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought the same thing. So there were definitely some
Oh, don't do that. That's no.
No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to talk about Wheel of Time right now.
You know what buttons to push, Mark Clark, and I don't like it. But that is a good comparison to how stupid the laser sword thing is. But it makes more sense in Rebel Moon than it does in Wheel of Time, okay? Because the dagger in Wheel of Time is literally evil and sucks your soul. And even though I'm not touching you, yes, the dagger would still affect you if you are using it, but not touching it. You win, Mark Clark. You win. Yeah, no, I wanted to like this, but honestly, I don't know why this wasn't just part 1. Just make part 1 3 hours. I don't understand how part 1 the extended edition could be 4 hours.
It really almost sounds like
the real problem. Look, part 1 did move pretty fast, and I could understand how there's more material there. Yeah. But apparently, the extended edition of part 2 is supposed to be even longer, and that makes even less sense because nothing happens in part 2.
Yeah,
more backstory, more in each of their backstories.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It does kind of sound like they're almost memeing themselves with this because they're trying to do the whole
they're trying to recreate
the PG-13 and then an R, but they set out with that intention as opposed to the
they're obviously trying to recreate the hype behind the Snyder cut of Justice League.
And then just
this is manufactured. We already know that it's going to be released. Like, part of that was the satisfaction of people had been begging for it for so long, and hey, we're finally going to do it, and it was great. I loved the Snyder cut.
And then like Paul Mortem said, the even slower motion, because it's like, okay, now almost like, you know what, you don't like my slow motion, I'm going to double down on my slow motion.
The other problem is Justice League sucked because someone else made it, and then Zack Snyder came in and finished it and made it better. But Zack Snyder also made the theatrical cuts of Rebel Moon, so promising a better version. It doesn't quite have the same je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean? It doesn't have the same effect if he's responsible for the first one sucking.
And that's the thing, is it's just too we're gonna do this, we're gonna try to recreate this thing that was just that was much more organic, and that just completely misunderstanding the reasons that it worked, or misunderstanding the reasons that, like, this success worked because we weren't happy with the first one, and so why give us the first one to make us unhappy instead of just giving us the thing that's going to make us happy?
Right. I mean, I want to like this, and it wasn't. It wasn't it.
Was not the thing.
This currently has a worse audience score than Sucker Punch, which apparently there's a Snyder cut of for that too.
I did hear that, even though I believe there is already a director's cut of that's out, but he was recently saying that he wants to do a different.
I didn't know there was. I'm pretty sure there's only one version of that movie.
There might not be, but I thought that I'd heard, like, why is he trying to do another one? Isn't there already a Snyder cut of it? So maybe...
No, it's just I'd have to Google it, but I'm pretty sure it's just a regular cut that no one liked. But he's like, oh, it was because they made me cut a bunch of stuff. It's because they didn't let me make a 6-hour movie. And that's the other problem. Even though I do like the Snyder cut of Justice League, you can't, in good conscience, make a 4-hour movie and expect the studios to say, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah, no,
the at most like 3 hours, and that's pushing it. Like, it's not the studio's fault. It's audiences aren't gonna go see 3-hour movies, and the movie theaters lose money. Because people aren't going to see it, and because it lasts longer, so they can't do as many showings.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's been a very, very long time since we were able to make movies like The 10 Commandments or Lawrence of Arabia that lasted 4 hours. Okay?
I was going to bring that up.
Now, if you're going to do that now, it needs to be a miniseries. Like, you can't. It just they can't exist like that.
Yeah. So I teased this I mentioned this to you in the private chat, so we don't need to go all the way into it if you actually don't want to talk about it. But
you saw Interstellar.
I saw Interstellar, and honestly, this fits exactly what you're talking about so much that I at least have to mention it, because I just saw Interstellar for the first time
in theater.
We're releasing it in theater, so I actually have never seen it at all. And I got to go see it in theater for the very first time.
And it's under 3 hours, right?
It's just barely, like, it's 2 hours and 49 minutes.
So it's a 3-hour movie.
Just there. But I remember, like, so again, just watching it here, I was watching this going, wow, this feels like it could be a whole mini series, but they've been able to boil it down to a 3-hour movie, an under 3-hour movie. So on the one hand, I'm like, hey, this could have been, like, in the modern world, you could have done a TV miniseries and made like 10 hours, a 10 episode season of this story, and done a really good job of it.
It's a little bit much, but yeah, I agree.
I like Interstellar. I think people who don't like it are silly.
You could probably.
It's my favorite movie, probably. I mean, it's the only movie that I consider my favorite.
And yet, they're still able to have condensed it down into a really compelling 3-hour movie that did such a great job. It was just mind-blowing how good it was. even though I've already heard tons of people talk about it, and even meme the bookcase, portal.
I know.
Sort of,
Okay,
no,
let's talk about the love is the answer. Okay, it's the movie is not saying that love is the answer. Okay, it's really the connection that love made, but that is the character's interpretation in that moment. That's what he's saying. It's not saying that that's what it is. Okay. If you don't like Interstellar, it's because you don't get it.
it's
you're a big dum dum.
Who does not like that movie, unless you didn't like how long it was. Because again, you get to the point where they land on Matt Damon's planet, and you're like, all right, cool, we're wrapping things up to. But wait, there's still like a freaking hour left to this movie. What? Okay, okay, I see what's going. Oh no, it's a different thing than I thought was going to happen. But like,
yeah.
They actually, because that's the thing, like you feel like a lot of these movies, as opposed to a mini series that you might have an extended look for or extended time runtime for, like that they have to kind of truncate it. They have to say, well, we're just going to wrap up this story because that's how we can make it happen in 2-3 hours. But this one was like, no, we want to tell this full thing where you really get to see each of these different like situations and actually explore it a little bit and feel like it did not feel truncated in any way, shape, or form, but still was compelling the entire way. So anyway, if you didn't want to spend too much time on that, we don't have to go too deep into it. But
no, Interstellar's
that's a great example of how like you can look at something that you're saying, how is this not a mini series? Because if you want to do more, longer than 3 hours, just do a mini series. But then also, if you have a story to tell and you're a good writer like Christopher Nolan, you can make something that could span a huge TV miniseries and condense it into a under 3 hour movie.
Yeah, it's sad that we got that movie right before the miniseries or the TV show era, right?
Yeah,
we got it right before, like 2 or maybe 2 or 3 years before.
Really.
And do you know what I was thinking right now that you mentioned that it could be because of the story? I think that the exact opposite could work for the 1899. Remember that? The 1899. The show.
The people that they were the same ones that did the other German show.
Dark.
Dark, yeah.
Yeah.
You think that could have been a movie? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
because it's like there's so much time where we spend like kissing with the gay fellas, and it's just like they could just say all that BS and just get to the point, because at the end of the day the reveal is not that. It could use less build up.
Yeah,
I
liked 1899, but it needed to be trimmed.
Yeah, and I hear that a lot. There's a lot of people like a lot of times like we look at Obi-Wan again, like that was another one that's like you didn't need to make a TV series out of this. I mean,
I wouldn't have liked it if it was a movie too, but
they would have been less worse.
You're right, but still, it went from like a 4. I don't know, for depending on who you are, would have gone for me from like a 4 or 5 to like a 6 or 7 if it had been a movie and actually been a little bit more tight. It still has.
It would have gone from a 0 to a -0 for me.
Yeah.
But that's the same sort of thing. You're right. I think there is a little bit of a pendulum swing where like we've had these movies and people figured out how to do that, and then they were like, oh, we could tell these long stories in miniseries, and then they started just putting filler in like in 1889, which again, mostly good. It could have been trimmed. Yeah. And there's a lot of other places.
Yeah, Charles makes a good point. My younger brother, who was a little kid when David and I were watching Lord of the Rings all the time, I could totally understand not liking that as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you've repented.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also why there were 2 versions. Okay, there was a theatrical version and an extended cut. Yep. But the thing is, both of them were good.
Both of them were really good.
So Snyder, Zachy boy, you can make both good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that's it's weird to you'd have to really pay attention to the subtle differences between I made what I wanted to make and they were like, ooh, can we make it PG-13 just because we want to do that, and then we'll let you do your R-rated, versus there's just a subtle difference between that and the like, here's the movie that I wanted to make, and we really can't do this
apparently
almost 4-hour thing. Okay, we'll let you release the full cut if you want on the DVD, but we need to have something we can put in theaters because we can't. But this is a Netflix thing. There's no there's no other
Yeah.
good reason for Rebel Moon to have this
Right.
artificial, shortened, changed thing. It felt so much
Exactly.
more backwards.
Right, like I mean, they did something similar with the Hateful Eight.
Did they?
There was it was a movie, but then they included a bunch of deleted stuff and turned it into like a 4-part TV show.
Okay,
I've always wanted to see it, and I haven't done it because it's long.
Oh.
But yeah. Apparently, none of this matters though because Part 3 is Rebel Moon Part 3 is already underway. So.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. I mean, that's the thing too. Is,
I mean, I'll watch it, but I don't think I think a lot of other people have pieced out.
That's the real thing with this, because it's a Netflix movie. So where do they get their money? They get their money from new subscribers. I cannot imagine this is going to bring in any new subscribers.
Yeah.
It's barely even going to be helpful for any kind of retention. Either,
Right.
which
It did. People, it brought in subscribers for Part 1, but I don't think you're going to retain them.
But I bet you Part 2 brought in next to none, if any, new retainers, new subscribers, retainers, or returning people. And Part 3 it sounds like is going to be even less than that.
Right.
So it's like,
it was a bad move.
but I mean, I guess you could give them a little bit of credit for trusting in their creative and saying, hey, we'll give you the leeway your vision is. So
I can't complain about that.
we got to find some balance in there, because it is an unfortunate thing that kind of makes you understand why studios don't sometimes take the word of their creatives and say, oh, we'll give you the leeway for the
Trust
whole.
the creative, but don't create artificial hype.
Yeah.
Was it confirmed then that there is a third one?
Oh yeah. It's already being produced. Did you guys see this? The Blade movie, which has notoriously been in production for like 30 years. Is that how long this keeps getting pushed back? And they couple months ago they completely scrapped the script that they had, which because it was leaked that it had nothing to do with Blade and it was about a bunch of lesbians, and Blade was in the background. So they're rewriting it. The new version is going to be stripped down to Blade killing vampires.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
a Blade movie?
They don't even know. Like, have they watched the Blade movie? Have they watched the Blade movie? Like, I can say without a shadow of the doubt that 70% of those movies are just this guy killing vampires. Like, and some cheesy dialogue in between, and some transition shots. Some I don't know, but the rest is just this guy killing and watching, or watching the corpses of the vampire, and that's it.
Yeah.
Watching the after.
Like, why was it so difficult to get this film made? It's literally just a black guy killing vampires.
They're filming in Mexico, so you gotta know. I'm gonna make sure to.
This is a good joke too. Just put a sepia tone on it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's being filmed in Mexico. That doesn't mean it takes place there. Okay? That is just so funny to me. It's been stripped down to just being what it's supposed to be.
They're gonna say it's freaking like staged on Africa or some BS like that. I don't know.
You guys heard about the Warhammer 40K drama, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah.
They're making making Custodes female now, and everyone's leaving Games Workshop. They're mad at them.
Yeah.
It's literally in canon that they only use men to turn into Custodes.
Yeah, which is like logical.
And now they're trying to gaslight everyone and saying from the beginning there's always been female Custodes, and people are posting screenshots of their lore from books. Like, no, it's literally they used like a genetic corruption of male biology to create these things, right?
It was such a silly drama.
But this was a fun meme.
I think they were like doing it on purpose.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna go the way of Wizards of the Coast, who just fired their CEO. So
Interesting.
I was just expecting that in the Amazon show is there's gonna be a women custodian, like no doubt, like.
Could be, although with
I don't know. It's Henry
being so
Cavill.
involved and him being so tight to the lore, I would be really surprised. But then again, if they're doing this, then
Mm.
I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking of
Yeah,
Henry
Henry
Cavill,
Cavill is really good, but he's still a man. He's
Yeah.
still a gentleman. So I think that.
Or is he an ungentleman?
that's not true.
Mhm. That movie hasn't come out here in Mexico. I think it's coming out this Wednesday. So.
The ungentlemanly warfare,
Yeah.
dude. Watch it.
Oh, definitely. That's one of
love
the
it.
only movies that I want to like save money
Okay.
to actually
Dude,
watch.
if you don't know what it's about, it's a true story. It is the true story of the real life version of James Bond. Like this is the World War II spy who inspired
Ian Fleming to write.
Ian Fleming to write James Bond films, and it's based
Ian
off
Fleming.
of it's based off of
Well, okay, yeah,
Henry Cavill's character. Like Ian Fleming is in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Someone plays Ian
His
Fleming.
character. Sorry, someone playing Ian Fleming's characters in the movie.
That's been a weird thing for me to say. Like, someone is playing
Ian Fleming is a character in the movie. There we go.
a real person.
Nice.
But yeah, it's anyway. Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, I mean, don't spoil it for me. That's actually something that I want to watch. But
we'll let you know because Alan and I are gonna want to talk about it when we get more.
Yeah, Bearded
you
got
guys
rocked.
can talk about it then.
Bearded got some more rocks
Got
from
some rocks. I don't remember which
from
part it
the
was
book.
for, but I deserve them
Yeah.
probably. So
Just keep talking long enough, and you'll get them.
Yep.
All right, so let's before we transition. Because there's one more meme which I thought was pretty great. Disney World forced to close after DeSantis builds an elementary school within 1,000 feet, baby.
ouch.
That's a good one.
I just
Okay.
recently saw a video. Oh, Bill Maher.
Bill
You
Maher.
saw what he said?
It was probably pretty milquetoast.
No, he was actually based.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the first, and
He's-
everyone was saying this is the first time in years since Bill Maher has said something that actually was a hit to the left.
Well, he
And
keeps
basically called them. Can I say the P word?
Mhm. Yeah, just call him. Sure.
Bedito,
right
you
now.
know.
Bedito, yep.
But yeah, he basically called the leftists that they are so on a side, they are so obsessed with
Yeah.
one side being the right one and the other one being incorrect that they
Yeah.
are,
My
they
my
can go
problem
as
with
far as, forgiving peritos. And
my problem with Bill Maher is he's a fence sitter. Like for the last couple of years, he keeps flirting with sanity, and he'll call some stuff out, but then in the same breath he'll say, "Yeah, but I'm still going to vote for Joe Biden. Look how good he's done." You're like, but
yeah.
so you agree that all of these things that are happening are bad, but you refuse to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, what he said right now, he was like really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he even said that DeSantis was right. He said
In my,
DeSantis was right, and
I think
everyone was-
the problem is, I don't think he actually believes these things. I think he sees that his audience does. So
I don't know.
It
His
feels like a
audience
grift. to
Was silent. Like his audience was dead silent until there was like a couple of guys, and that there were guys because they were laughing hysterically, and that there were guys.
I think he sees the
Um,
writing on the wall, and he wants to be on the right side of history. When in a
know
few
that he's
years, when
full of-
all of these people
I
get
mean, he's full of
prosecuted
crap,
for malpractice.
Yeah, but that is the only thing that he has said in years that made sense, in my opinion. That was actually legit. Like you
Yeah.
can hear his honesty, and there's a couple of things that were direct hits, with not even jokes, and everyone was like dead silent in the audience because he started talking about the T's, and the non-binary and the schools and how they are doing that to children, and that is really sick. And he
It
Yeah,
is.
he's like trying to say, I okay with you being a T person, but you don't have to go and tell a kid because, you know,
Yeah.
they are false. And he
Well,
basically
I'll have
said
to
that, like,
watch it, but
yeah,
can't
watch it.
promise. I can't promise I'll start liking Bill
It's
Maher.
on Twitter. Oh no, never, no. I hate Bill Maher ever since I know who he is. Like, yeah, I don't like him. I think that he's like a poser, or that, he's a grifter basically.
Yeah,
He knows how to make money out of the things that he does, but this
but
one is the first thing that I am going to say that his producers probably say, "Oh, you're sure about this one?"
but speaking of politics, I just yesterday I spent the entire day at the nomination convention because I am a delegate elect for Utah County.
Mhm.
So, if you want, you can refer to me as delegate elect because it is my official title, and all of my information it's public information. It's online. So,
Ooh. So you're basically just doxing yourself.
no, that's the problem, right? Like, I I cannot have privacy because I'm an elected official.
That's a little scary. Oh boy.
Hey, incumbent. I am a delegate elect incumbent. I've done this for it'll be 4 years now. So,
No.
it was really your local politics are much more important than national politics, and you should definitely get involved. I encourage everyone to do so. Go to your local caucuses, and participate because you can make real changes. 2 years ago, I literally got a pedophile out of office, and that was fantastic. I mean, it wasn't just me; I helped. And this year, we got some good changes through. So
Cool.
Do that unless you're in Mexico. Because
So I'm DEI. Don't you? Thanks for the $1.99. I'm not DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm offended.
Delegate elect incumbent.
Oh, okay. You're right. I guess I am a DEI. I don't appreciate your framing.
I'm sure it was
Misleading.
completely unintentional. Mark meant nothing by it, I'm sure. Mhm.
Ugh. Mark, I love you, but sometimes I hate you. Bill is baked 94% of the time. Yeah, probably.
That's the thing about baked people, Sometimes they have a moment of brilliance. It's cars, but
All right, that's really clever. That's clever.
But
I didn't even get. I said I said it, and I didn't even catch that was the acronym.
you're. I was also going to say, speaking of people being baked with 420 having just passed, but then we also apparently there was a planetary alignment too. So I'm pretty sure there were a lot of people really, really interested in all sorts of philosophical meanings behind the planetary.
Well, you guys celebrate 420?
I'm just saying. I'm sure there were a lot of people.
Hitler's birthday?
I mean,
My
I definitely celebrated 420, but not because of El Adolfo. Mhm.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's kind of lucky that he was born in the happy day.
My dad, since his birthday is also 420, he actually had a license plate that was on the car that I drove in high school. That was his initials and then 420, 420. And so all the stoners loved my mini that had 420.
That's super
license
funny.
plate.
That would have been super cool.
Okay, so Jared, you're the only one who watched Gentlemanly stuff.
Which I realized the rest of us have probably watched Shogun, or at least Jared, you watched Shogun, right? So
yeah, so we should probably talk Shogun first
before we move on to
All
Ungentlemanly.
right, that's my.
All right.
No
No spoil. Okay,
I don't know anything.
seriously,
about
check out Shogun. Okay, use the high C's if you have to, because this it is so good. I will shave my head for this show. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that the service that I use with in the high seas, let's just call it like that, it's not posting new pictures and new movies and stuff. I stopped posting stuff. Like I guess they arrested the guy behind the site or something because I have not posting a new stuff, and I've been refreshing and refreshing, looking for everything. Not even like the Magical Society or Magical whatever, American Society of Magical Dudes. Black dudes.
Magical dudes who are black. Yes.
Yeah, magical dudes that are black. I cannot even watch that, and I want to watch that just because it's gonna be so
I just
bad.
had some fun with that one. It was
Yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
that's the main reason. Well, that's why I'm waiting for Belma, because that's the reason why I'm going to get HBO, and HBO is the Riz. What is the name of the the Riz? What is the name of the show? The
Hulu.
GC, the Jinx.
The Jinx.
Oh,
The
the
Jinx.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
the Riz.
Do you get HBO in Mexico?
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm gonna get HBO because of Belma, which is same
Oh,
thing.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna watch it on Prime.
Okay.
Is it Max Prime? Max, I think it's called. I don't know.
Max.
Max.
Max. Oh,
But yeah.
watch The Jinx.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the
It's the
Jinx.
best true crime of all time.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to release a video when Belma comes out, or if there's like a new or something new to talk about, I can make a video. But I tried to make a video today, but I was looking for topics, and I was like, no, this was good 2 weeks ago, not today.
Hmm.
All right. Well, peace out so we don't spoil
See ya.
one of the greatest TV shows of all time for you.
Hmm.
Oh, holy moly, that's a good sell.
It's
That
so
is-
good.
It's good.
I
Yeah,
love
I
Sherlock
have
so
not
much.
heard many contrary opinions on that one.
All right, adios, amigos.
Thanks for joining the conversation, Mexa. Speaking of true crime, I just started reading, listening to Brandon Sanderson's "Dark One Forgotten,"
I've had that one on
Yeah.
my library stuff to listen to.
the audiobook exclusive.
Yeah.
It's a fake true crime podcast
about
set in his Dark World, Dark One universe.
Yeah,
Which is it's a prequel to the comic, which is going to be turned into a
that's
book.
right. I knew it was connected. But yeah, I
Um,
never finished the comic, and so I didn't get around to listening to that one. So I need to finish.
I'm liking it. I'm halfway through. It's a really cool premise. I really like the main character, and I absolutely hate the side character who is just incredibly annoying.
Oof.
And it might have something to do with the voice actress.
I was going to say the other one that I would wonder if it kind of falls under that same thing was the case. What was it? Case Does and
I
Chill
don't know.
Does and Case,
Something
other that
Case
came
Doe.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't
Case
read it yet.
Yeah, that one also I haven't read yet either, but it might fall into that same category. So yeah, I am halfway through Way of Kings right now, just a little bit past half. Just
Is
not
your
the
reread or first time? I can't remember.
Yep, first time.
First time. Okay, so you're
Just barely past the time where Kaladin is left out in the high storm on the barracks of Bridge 4.
Cool stuff.
Oh,
There was this bit where he's in this maelstrom and it's talking about the big thing, and then he hears a still small voice of Syl. And for anyone who knows their Bible, the idea of a big storm, but where God is and where your help can be found is the still small voice, was just such a great demonstration at that point, and just it was beautiful.
Thanks for tuning in, Justin Hancock. You do serve your calling with pride, Mister.
Yeah. So that was a really cool thing to read through. Quite enjoying it. I just can't seem to find time to sit down and read too much. So
Mark Locke, it was so good. Are you talking about Way of Kings? Were you talking about?
probably talking about Shogun.
No, this was like while you were talking. He said it. So
Yeah. I
anyway.
mean, there's a little bit of a delay, so I assumed it was
Probably Shogun.
About, but
Shogun, baby. Oh man.
Dark One. is what
Dark
Mark-
One. I haven't read. I have the comic, and I haven't read Dark One. I've heard it's
Yeah.
confusing.
I started it and then I fell behind and had to return it to the library.
But yeah,
so.
I'm really enjoying Forgotten. So, except for this side character who I wish did not exist.
Yep.
Shogun.
Yeah. Holy cow.
what a mastermind!
Watch Shogun, man. It's. I started thinking about Shogun earlier. You're 2 episodes behind. All right.
Ooh. These last 2
Trying to-
episodes have been emotional and just
Yeah, they've been good.
beautifully done and intense storytelling.
Shogun isn't good. It's amazing. The comic and the audiobook. Yeah, I'm liking the audiobook. So anyway, but before we spoil it for Justin, so he has to peace out. I started thinking about Shogun earlier when you were talking about
miniseries.
Yeah, miniseries, and how Interstellar could have easily been a TV show. And what was the one you brought up, Jared? That something could have just been a movie.
I might have brought up. Are you talking about me? I brought up Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
But
someone else brought up a good TV show that could have been turned into a movie. I think Shogun, as much as I love the TV show, and I think this is a good example of you could take this and turn it into a very solid 2-hour movie, because most of it's just talking, right?
It is a lot of talking, yeah.
And you could, if you wanted to, cut out like 80% of the content, right?
There's a lot of stuff you could cut out.
It would have to be 80%. You'd boil it down to 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. You could tell this story in 2 hours, and I think it would make a great movie. But that doesn't mean that the TV show is bad.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Like it would have made both versions would be fantastic, and that's just a credit to the TV show. Despite being able to cut half of this and still tell an engaging story, and 80% of this show is just people talking in rooms.
Yeah,
but I think
it's so well done.
The dialogue really helps to tell the story. Though.
It does.
Absolutely.
And you open those holes in the gaps that you don't know.
Yeah, that's why it's a good. I'm not saying it's a bad TV show. I'm saying it's really good. I'm saying you could take the plot though, and turn it into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's done so well that when you stretch it out into 10 episodes, when you stretch the 2-hour plot into 10 episodes, you get so many intricacies. You get the why, and you get the character motivations behind each one. Yeah. And I love every second of this show. It's so intriguing that we get so much more of the Japanese culture, like Mark Clark talks about, you're reading the audiobook as well? The show follows pretty well. Yeah. I've heard this last episode diverges a little bit, but then ends up in the same place, specifically with a character. You guys know who I'm talking about? Apparently that happens sooner in the books.
Okay.
But they rearrange some things for these last 2 episodes.
That makes sense.
But it goes to the exact same place. And it's just... So this show is intricate. It's so well done. There is not, even though it could all be cut, right? There's not a second that's wasted.
The big thing that I'll give you, and why I think you're right, but what it really stands out to me, and why I brought it up as a part of the conversation towards Interstellar, is somebody who has the ability, like Christopher Nolan, to take a big, large story like that and condense it into a under 3-hour movie concept is a masterful skill. It is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Not just anyone can do it, but those who can do it are masters at it, because they find the subtle ways to give you a lot of the context that you would get, and then with the show you get a chance to actually flesh that out and really explain it and really attach to it. But the masterful filmmakers can do that with quick scenes, with quick dialogue, with small little pieces, and then when you have the TV show, you have a chance to really explore that and really feel.
Also, if Interstellar had been a TV show, it would have been a very different tone, because the temptation would be, if it's a TV show, okay, let's visit more of the planets.
Yeah, no, and
but that completely changes the tone, because one of the best parts of the movie is we don't have time.
Yep.
We have to choose which ones we're going to visit, and the other people, they're dead.
I would absolutely agree, and I think that this is where I take my.
But it also would have been really freaking cool to get a different planet every episode.
Well, and it still takes it brings me to the reverse side of my other point, which was to then take a story that maybe has been told in a 3-hour format and translate that into a 10-episode miniseries takes a lot of skill to do so effectively and in a way that's compelling and still feels like it has that same urgency or that same tone, because you could still do that. You would just be you would be probably diving into the character, the inner character stuff a lot more. But and that's why you couldn't go probably longer than 10 episodes. Maybe even 8 would be the better one. Honestly, you're not far off with Battlestar Galactica being a good example of that.
That is one of the
a lot longer, but still.
I have not seen it yet.
I watched the original old 70s show.
Yeah.
And I started the first season and a half or so of the new one, and it's really, really good. And it has a lot of those same kind of feelings. And to Jacob's point, or Justin's point, that the idea that you still have that sense of urgency.
Hey, Jacob.
This is a show that has plenty of episodes. I don't know exactly with the Battlestar Galactica 2004 or whatever.
Thanks for
series,
tuning in.
How many it has total, but like it does that really well. It balances that. So it's all about these effective and skillful writers.
Yeah.
And sure, there are, we see with Shogun, we see with Gentleman Warfare. There are
Rebel Moon Part 2.
They're still there.
Just amazing writing.
And you then have the contrast and where they don't. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm not necessarily going to get quite on the bandwagon of the like everything in the past sucks and everything now is or past was great.
No, it's hyperbole. It's hyperbole, but
and I know
but also
hyperbole.
Almost true.
I see where you're coming from, and again, I do know that you're coming at it from hyperbole, but like at the same time, I'm like, I think a lot of times we've just forgotten all the crap from the past, and we only remember.
Oh yeah, no, there was crappy movies before. The problem is, I think the biggest difference is that the crappy movies from before were just because it didn't work out, and the crappy movies now are almost by design. It's like there's no reason for these movies to be crappy. They're crappy because they don't care about making the movie. They care about the message. So that's the biggest difference for me.
I'd argue that there was still probably a lot.
There were still cash grabs. There were people who didn't care about the movie as well, but it wasn't at the sacrifice of something else. It was just, hey, we're not good at making movies, and I'm just doing this for a paycheck. And now this could be a good movie, but we don't care about that.
And I think that nowadays there's still a lot of people who try and fail, partially because they maybe have a different mindset of what they want to get out there. But I don't think it's necessarily quite to the level of like, oh, we just are. To me, I parallel it a little bit more with that idea of like they just are not good and they just can't quite make it happen. Rather than because they're trying to. I don't know.
That was 100% my problem with Fallout. I loved everything about it except for the writing. Like it could have been fantastic, and the writing was just garbage. Mark Clark, have you not seen Interstellar? It's a Christopher Nolan space movie, a direct homage to 2001. Which, if you haven't seen it, you should watch 2001 first.
I do need to watch
and
that
then watch Interstellar. Like you can watch Interstellar and enjoy it on its own, but you will be missing half of the movie.
Yeah. So I probably missed half the movie, but for me, like, I hadn't seen Interstellar until now. It is.
You haven't seen 2001?
I have not seen 2001.
I refused to watch that until just a little bit ago. 2001 Space Odyssey.
Gaps in my film, repertoire, if you will.
Hey, okay, but here's the thing with that particular movie, and we're getting sidetracked here. Yeah. That movie is the slowest movie ever. Like,
yes,
it literally has Blue Danube going on for 30 minutes while you watch a spacecraft spin around in the air. It's like after you watch 15 minutes of what seems to be evolution of these monkeys that figure out how to kill other monkeys.
Yes, it is a slow movie, but that doesn't mean it is a bad one.
Shogun's a slow show, but it doesn't mean it's a bad show. It
might be hard to get into it, though.
What? Oh my! Okay, well, that's what we're going to talk about instead of Fallout, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where 2001 is, and we'll
I don't know. I feel like I'm being gaslit right now.
By the way, Mark Clark's question: Anne Hathaway, Matthew McConaughey. Surprise! I already mentioned it. Matt Damon. And, there's of course, because it's Christopher Nolan. You've got Michael Caine in it. Which he looked really young at the beginning. I was like, this wasn't that long ago, was it? He looks really young. And the Jessica Chastain, I think, is the daughter.
Yeah. The kid is someone famous too. It's who's the kid?
Oh, isn't it Chalamet? Is the young version?
Is it Timothy Chalamet? Probably.
Because I just watched the pitch meeting for it afterwards, and I think they mentioned like, oh yeah, he'll not be in any other like sci-fi exploration movies. Yeah,
it's Shamalot.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that too.
It's a little baby Shamalot.
Yeah. So yeah.
Please watch 2001 though.
Look. You have to skip the first 30 minutes. Just a heads up though.
If I was 10,
Jared,
on that, but I'm old enough that I can deal with.
Do you understand the point of 2001?
Yeah, we've discussed it. That's why I decided to actually watch it, Alan, is because we discussed it, and I was like, okay, I probably should watch this movie. So I went and watched it.
But the first 20 minutes are pivotal to the story.
But extremely boring.
There's monkeys in it.
Exactly. And that's all you got for 30 minutes.
There's monkeys killing each other in it.
Yeah, for 30 minutes.
And there's a big black box.
Exactly. Which you have no idea what this black box is.
Well, you find out later.
Yeah,
40 minutes later, yeah.
That's...
Hey, Alan, do you want to feel even worse?
What?
Do you want to feel even worse? Look at what Mark just said, too.
Thanks, Mark Clark. It's all right after you pass the slow start. The slow start, I understand, may be pivotal, but it's all right because it does get better after it gets past him going through the whole because he has to walk through the station and it has to show him walk through the station for 10 minutes and finally get to his spot.
And filmmakers today probably couldn't make that scene, okay?
I know. I get it. It's technologically advanced for their. You want to know
the best part? The pen scene. You know the pen scene
where it's floating and he picks it up and uses it.
Look, this. Think about when this movie was made, too.
No,
okay?
I get it.
Special effects did not, like computer-generated graphics, did not exist. All of this was filmed in camera, okay? Yeah. And they have sequences of zero gravity that look better than Gravity did, okay?
Small side note. I was pretty sure after for the first half an hour of Interstellar that maybe I was accidentally in the movie Gravity because they just kept saying gravity. I'm like, wait,
you watch it again when you've had a Snickers, Mark. It needed to have a gay chick in it who was lame. Okay. Look, the scene with the pen. Okay, do you know how they filmed the scene with the pen?
Yes, we talked about it.
It's so good. It's like the simplest solution too. Okay, it's beautiful. You got astronauts in zero G, and there's a pen floating, and the stewardess just walks by and just picks it up and hands it to the guy. It's genius. It was taped to a sheet of glass, and they were just spinning the glass around, and she goes and just picks it up, pulls it off the glass. And it looks so freaking good. But the scene with the spaceship where they've created gravity by having it rotate, and they have the camera follow it, like.
Look, I get it.
But here's the thing: as cool as those scenes are, as cool as the space scenes are, that's not what the movie's about. The movie's about the first 30 minutes. Okay, Jared?
I get that because later on they have the council and they're like, hey, there's a black box. Well, what's this black box? And like they talk about it. And I get it. It's important. But at the same time, it was when I first watched it. So it took a little convincing. But when I first watched it, I literally was so bored. And I was just bored watching this movie. And I remember specifically looking at how much time had gone by on the movie, and it was 30 minutes. And I was like, wow, I just wasted 30 minutes.
Just because it's important doesn't mean it's not boring. Important things can be boring.
But I gave it another chance, and it was good. It was a good movie. I'm just saying you may need to, make sure that you're not going to get bored after the first 30 minutes. Or hang in there.
Just before you start watching the movie so that you don't fall asleep.
Yeah, hang in there, guys.
The night before.
It's one of
Mountain Dew or Monster or something,
like
no coffee. No coffee. Yeah.
Filmmaking prowess aside, which is its own category. It is one of the most important movies that was ever made. And then you add the prowess on top of it, it's one of the best movies ever made.
I will say I did feel like I was waiting in Interstellar for the robots to turn against them, because of the pop cultural influence of 2001, as well as the way that we were first introduced when McConaughey's character comes in and he's like, oh, they're gonna go crazy on you and kill you or whatever. But
I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
Or how?
If only I had an eject button on this panel.
And
what were we talking about? Shogun?
Shogun is quite amazing.
Shogun's was good, yes, for sure. As was 2001. I will change my statement as I have previously stated on this channel. 2001 is a good movie.
But even the drug trip scene at the end, that's all filmed practically, okay?
I get it. Yeah.
Did they practically take drugs and then they film?
No, all the space timey-wimey stuff, visuals, it's incredible what they were able to do. Okay. Shogun D's nuts.
Alan is reevaluating our life choices.
And whether or not we'll be on next show.
Yeah, Martina, I guess I am now DEI because I'm delegate elect incumbent, but I don't like it because it's also the acronym for diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is everything, which is the reason why our country is falling apart right now. So
yeah, I wasn't familiar with that acronym either for what Alan hates about it, but I'm proud of Mark for aggravating him with it.
Shogun was really good because it's nice because it's getting to the end, so you're starting to get some more of the answers as to, hey, what's he's planning, why is he doing this, and so that's the thing, right? I think it goes back to kind of our discussion we had last week, where they know their duty, right? That's what makes these characters so powerful, is they know their duty and they're willing to act on their duty, and he knows it, right?
These people are he knows everyone so well. He knows what choices they're going to make, and he's playing them like the pawns that they are to win the game because he wants Japan to be good.
Yep, he wants it to be united. Because that's the thing too, is his thing from last episode where he was talking about what's more important, my household or Japan as a whole. And it still comes down to what he's ending up doing, even though it's different than what it sounds like he's saying he's going to do, it's still for the idea of a united Japan. So
Yeah.
Mark Clark once again trying to derail the entire conversation. Thank you so much for the $4.99. Which is better? Which is a better? Sorry, I'm dyslexic. Which is a better Kubrick movie, 2001 or the Moon Landing?
Moon Landing.
It's a Moon the Landing, like Megan the Stallion, right?
Moon
Yeah. No, if you haven't heard my spiel about that already, you absolutely need to watch Operation Avalanche.
I was just going to say, was that the one that were you the one telling me about this thing that like builds up the whole like, oh, this is what the hoax is, and then tells you, yeah, okay, so here's all
Operation Avalanche. It might still be free on YouTube right now.
Okay.
It's a hilarious movie. Do I think the moon landing was faked? I don't know. I've never bought into that conspiracy theory. But with all of the conspiracy theories that are turning true, I could be convinced, maybe. But it's still a pretty hard sell for me. I'm pretty.
Yeah. I'm still gonna
I'm like 90% sure we made it to the moon.
Yeah.
But if you want a really fun movie, Operation Avalanche presents a scenario in which faking the moon landing could definitely have been plausible and in a more believable scenario than any of the conspiracies have ever pitched it. It's a really good movie.
Oh,
It was a good one.
we're talking Moonfall here going on. There we go. Mark Clark beat me to it. Oh man.
You haven't. Oh, I did. Yeah. Okay.
Cool, because Justin was saying
The actual moon is fake.
landing,
Yeah.
The actual moon.
Oh, whose joke is that? You stole that joke. That's a comedian who one-ups conspiracy theories. Like, oh, you think the moon landing? Don't you know the moon landing was fake? You believe in the moon, like, right? I can't remember who did that. Yeah. Do. Yep, it's still on YouTube
All
for
right.
absolutely free.
So I think we've also been being a little spoiler light for Justin's sake,
Yeah.
but
one of Matt Johnson's best movies.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. I think it's his best movie.
yeah, I'd
say
agree. It was pretty good.
All right. Yeah, we're probably going to spoil Shogun episode 9 for you if you don't want spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good joke. It's a good joke. Spoiler away. Okay. Oh man.
Oof.
So I think before we talk about Mariko, I think we got to talk about Yabushiki.
That was starting this episode. I was like, you know what it is. This guy obviously. I talked about last week how I was just reminded of what a terrible trash person he is.
Yeah.
Because you've almost been able to start empathizing with him being in over his head with and this is Yabushike, not Buntaru, which we were also talking about last week, almost wanting to empathize with him. But Yabushike, and feeling like he's just in over his freaking head, trying to figure out who he wants to be loyal to. And then I was reminded last week of how he's also just a terrible person. And I'm looking at it, it's like, yeah, that's the problem, is he's just in over his head. Like, he thinks he's trying to play, he's playing chess, but everyone else is playing 4D chess. He's playing 2, other people are playing 4. There's even a whole extra dimension of chess playing that he's just not really on the level of.
For me, he's easily the best character of the show because of exactly what you described. He's completely in over his head. He's not very smart, and literally all he's trying to do is not die. And he's the wild card, right? He's a very selfish person. He's not a good person, but he's a very interesting person. And you want to like him, and he's a massive piece of shit.
Such a great like he does. Oh, I've been loving his acting.
And he finally plays his cards in this the cards he's been holding on to the whole time. He plays his hand in this episode, and even in his choosing sides, he doesn't choose sides.
He's still in the middle of trying to do the because he's trying to lead them to where they're going to get captured, and so but he ends up with them to do it. So like, I don't know.
But so he,
I will say that scene where you start to see him showing his colors, where he stabs the guard on the walkway or whatever.
Pull Boredom, thank you so much for the $5. Got a bolt. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to having you on the show when you're not traveling as much. Again, we'll have to talk about what we're going to talk about. We can still talk about Fallout. It's okay, but it's just not going to be like great for the algorithm.
I did think for a second with Yabushike that he was doing that to allow Toranaga's men to break.
Yeah. For a second, you're like, okay,
oh, cool. He decided to double down and stick with Toranaga. Wait.
Nope. He's a scumbag, and he finally has like made a choice to betray Toranaga, essentially.
Which also, he really had been basically there. It was only to Toranaga's face that you ever saw him otherwise. When he was with his lower, he was always saying,
he's a leaf in the wind, right? He's like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then when he's in front of Toranaga, oh, of course, like I'll do whatever you say. And in that moment, he believes it too, right? Because he's just a pushover. Yeah. And then the second he's out of his presence, oh no, it's not going to be enough, right? And the best part of this episode, which is also the worst part of this episode, which is just such why it's so good, it's such good writing, is his actions to betray Toranaga by letting the assassins in. Doesn't change a damn thing. Like it doesn't change anything at all, because Toranaga had already won, right? His move with Mariko was getting everyone else to. It was forcing his move with Mariko was to force Ishido's hand,
to either let them go and let everyone go, or
tell them they're not allowed to be let go, which and both of those choices would have the same outcome for Ishido, which is brilliant writing. And then that had already been displayed with Ishido letting her go.
Yeah.
And all Yabushiki did was just flip the coin onto the other side of Mariko's dead now, but the results are the same.
But here's the other thing. That's also still... So what you're saying about how Yabushike has failed, that actually means that Ishido has failed, because even though Ishido already gave in and did the thing that he was trying, that he had to do, where he gave, allowed Toranaga to force his hand.
It does make it look worse for him now, though.
People to go and try to kill them,
Well, but that's the thing. Ishido is the one that talks to Yabushige, and he's the one that tells him to do that, right? Yeah. So, like, Ishido is the one that planned that whole attack.
Yes, he was trying to capture them.
Yeah,
you can see he's killing. They immediately kill all the other people except for the women. They were trying to kidnap them, because the problem was he was in a lose-lose situation. If he lets her go, he's screwed. If he doesn't let her go, he's screwed. So he had to give in to prevent the riots, right? To prevent her death would cause rioting.
Yeah.
It would force his hand. He lets her win and say, okay, you can go, but I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to kidnap you.
The only problem, though, with that is that they had explosives, which means they were planning on using the explosives from the beginning. Right? So it's like, it wouldn't have been something that was more of a captive, at least the way that I see it. Because, I think...
No, you can see, like, they picked them up. Like, they killed everyone else. They picked her up. They
I
were
know,
trying
but
to
then
drag her away.
Why would they even care about actually blowing that door open if they're just capturing her?
Because they didn't expect someone to stand next to the door.
I know, but
That's why they said it out
eyes.
loud. They're like, we're going to blow the door open so that we can get you. And she's like, if you blow the door open, you blow me up.
Yeah.
It was a genius move.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have needed that initially though. So why would they have bombs initially?
Just in case? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, they've got their whole armory there. That's the thing. Or they've got a whole access to their whole, I guess, their whole.
So
I
I agree that a capture might have played better in Ishido's favor, but I don't know. I agree for the most part that this works in Toranaga's favor, right?
Mhm.
That this is something.
It makes it way worse
Mariko
because now Ishido has said, "Oh, yeah, you can go," and now he's caught breaking his promise of letting her go and then killing her in the desert. She was supposed to just disappear in the middle of the night, and then everyone would have said, "Oh, well, he let her go," and now he's caught red-handed breaking his promise.
So what I wonder though is the idea that she would have just disappeared. I don't know how well that, like, how he thought that would have played out well, because Yabushika came in and said, "Oh, look, there's assassins." Like he as a part of Ishido's plan alerted people to the assassins being in there, and so unless they're the thing that must be the case is that those assassins don't appear to be connected to Ishido. Like that somebody would say, "Oh, somebody came in and broke in and killed all these people," but it wasn't Ishido. It was XYZ other person, or it could have been some other thing. Where there's no way that because again the assassins broke in. Who else would have been like if the plot had succeeded? If she had disappeared and been kidnapped, who else would they have pointed to at who killed all of the other men in Toranaga's household there?
I have not read the book, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the plan is that this is just the book.
And my understanding from
it's just one season
that I've heard is that this is the entire book, first book. Although
they should do a season 2 though, and do the other books. It would just be a completely different cast in a different time zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Time period.
Like 200 years later or something like that. I don't know, but
they should adapt all of his books because I'm loving this.
Yeah,
it's really good. Honestly, I would be fine with whatever these showrunners want to do next. Like whatever the writers and showrunners want to do next. If you want to do more,
just give them the money.
Yeah, but if you want to do whatever you want to do, like, give them a Rebel Moon Part 3, or whatever. You know what I mean by just like, give them what they want and don't interfere.
I loved how they worked in the dialogue that like she's like this is Mariko's vengeance against fate itself.
And making everyone else carry the vengeance or the depression that she has had.
And it was really cool to have her escape the fate only to then just no I guess.
I wondered about that because there was that level of like she's been wanting to die so that she can move on and be with her father and everything.
Yeah, it was a bit of that.
She wanted that. But
it was also in the moment, I know if they blow up this door and they capture me, we kind of lose our leverage. And so, but if I die, that double screws.
I'm even talking about like when she had the knife and she was going to seppuku there, like she.
Right. She also knew that would have been a win for Toranaga as well. And if she doesn't die, that's also a win. Like he knows his pieces.
Yeah, but
intimately.
What I'm saying is like I see the complexity with her, where it's not just I want to die. She does want to die, but she also is like feeling a different pull where she's not just because she didn't like immediately cool the doors are closed and boom take care of it. She was still like taking her time on that. I don't know. Maybe it was to play.
Well, yeah, you could see in that moment she'd realize, hey, maybe I don't want to die.
That's kind of what my point is that like there's
and that was the white Blackthorn's fault, right? Because he comes in and he's like, okay, I'll be here for you.
Yeah,
you're like, and she's realized, I actually do like him.
Yeah.
Hey, at least they got to bang before she died.
Right.
Right.
I mean, so that's the other one though too, because the first time we were sure that Buntaro was dead. This
Oh, yeah.
time, even though we also we know
No,
now,
she's dead. She's dead.
But I'm saying we now know that Buntaro is kind of a wife-beating piece of
Garbage.
crap, but that he's still alive, and she knows he's still alive. So this is a much more conscious choice on her part to cheat on her husband. Whereas the previous one was like, we're pretty sure that my husband's dead. So like maybe there's some questionability there, but like
right.
But this one was like a much more, and they both know that Buntaro is alive, and so I don't know. It's one of those like other kind of tricky little bits in there that I'm like, that's
Yeah, I think there definitely could be some consequences with that for him, right? Because they did mention earlier that if he was, if there was any concern that he had any intentions toward his wife, then he could be killed.
Yeah, Buntaro could kill him. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure, because I mean, there's loads of people in there that saw them together. So
we're in the room together. Yeah.
So I'm sure there's going to be some sort of consequence with that later on.
That'd be really interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I'd be willing about that. That was definitely something that I thought of when he stayed in there. Like, first of all, him going in there to begin with probably would have been seen. Him being woken up, still in bed with her, snuggling.
Can we talk about how great the name of this episode is, though? Crimson Sky, which is supposed to be the coup on the Capitol, which is
it still
inadvertently what we got.
But we also got a Crimson Sky in the sunset that almost.
I know, it's very clever. It's very good.
Rather than Toranaga's assault on the city as Crimson Sky, we have Ishido's assault on the
but we got Toranaga's political assault on the city too. Basically, in one stroke, he kind of wins the war.
You're 100% right. This name of
it's genius.
Genius because it's on 10 different levels. It's
okay.
Toranaga's success. It's her near death. It's Ishido's
and of course now he has a reason to march on the city. So
yeah, more reason.
Yeah. And he has support when he gets there.
Yep.
He has support of of everyone in the city except for Ishido now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or he's going to when he arrives. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm loving this show. Can't wait for the finale. I mean, I honestly don't want it. I don't want the finale.
Yeah.
I don't want the show to be freaking over. I'm upset that we have one more week of this, and Tuesday is it, and I'm gonna save it. I'm probably gonna watch it on Sunday because I don't want it to be over. But it is so good. Oh, and we got to talk about the scene where they try and leave with Mariko.
Yeah,
just absolutely these and parroting the conversation about unnecessary deaths, right? Just like, it's my duty. Are you gonna stop me? Okay. All of the men die, and then she just keeps walking forward. And that scene where the arrows are like hitting, like she knows they can't shoot her, and they're shooting at her feet. But even if they did, like, it's kind of that same mindset of like I want to die too. Like, it's okay. Like she just completely
cool layers on that.
Resigned to the situation and is happy with both outcomes. And it's only until Blackthorn says, "Oh, I'll kill you for you," that she's like, "Oh wait, I want to live." No. It's just absolutely breathtaking storytelling, heart-wrenching, amazing acting with the two girls talking too.
That was really good.
I love that she just says it. She's like, "This is an excuse. You're not part of this. She's here to talk to me." Just so good.
Yeah, I love that too, because we did get a little bit more of an answer with that about how like they were the best of friends. They were like sisters, but their fathers were separate. And then again, like, oh man, the other girl's name is from besides Mariko.
Usami? No.
Maybe. We'll go with that for now. Sami.
I think it's Usami.
I
don't know. They all look similar to me.
Tears on her eyes.
No, it's Ochiba. Oshiba.
Yeah.
Usami is the the one who's holding his guns, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
And Kiku is the whore because she doesn't have a last name. I think that's how it works.
Probably. Anyway,
I'm looking at the cast right now, and I'm trying. Like, it's really hard. It's really hard.
Well, especially because they're not in their IMDb. They're not going to be in their the same makeup, hairstyles, the same whatever. They're going to look differently otherwise. Even
yes.
With, anyway, but yeah, that was just some really, because you can see where she's like, you always did it right, and your father was disgraced, and yet you still want to be with your father, which was the reason we couldn't be friends to begin with. Like, you can I really got to understand Sami or whatever her name, Osama's like motivation behind why she's so mad at Mariko and probably Toranaga for being kind of connected to that idea of keeping her, doing her messing with Mariko. So that was really good. Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to get a scene with Blackthorn on his ship shooting cannons at people? That's all I want. That's all I want left.
Yeah,
it probably will be.
I will settle for him shooting cannons, like directing the cannons and shooting the bad guys. But I would prefer if he was on his ship shooting people with cannons.
I think there's definitely going to be that. I mean, it's been hinting that he wants to get on the ship. So I think there's going to be a big something like that.
Just give the man his ship and let him shoot somebody, please.
with the chains, or with
Yeah, I mean, it's been alluding to these cannons the whole time, and
we saw him one time. We got it was a really good time.
Yep.
But give us some more cannons, please.
Something that I've thought of a couple of times, because I've heard people talking about like their struggles with the not only the fact that a lot of it is in Japanese and so subtitled and everything, but also the
love it
slight confusion of when things are actually in English versus when they're in Portuguese, given to us in English and that. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting, because what's really cool about that is you get to see Mariko translating, and you get to see how she translates and what she leaves out and leaves in.
Mm-hmm.
And Toranaga never questions how much she translates for Blackthorn. But Yabushike does. He says, did you translate honestly? And then doesn't want to, even though that was one where she really did translate honestly, but she's been a little bit more flexible with some of her translations for Blackthorn. Not too much, but a little bit, even with Toranaga and some of the other situations. And then, of course, you get the scenes with the consort lady that is like, this is very obviously, and she even tells him, I'm not even going to bother translating for you. Or I wonder too, because the consort lady was like, please translate this for him, because I want him to know what our relationship was like. But then we don't actually hear her translate it, so I assume she didn't actually translate it, but it's just beautiful, beautiful scene. Yeah,
such a good show.
Mariko, stop playing games. You are the only one that can stop playing these games. That can stop these games that you're calling. Oh, it was beautiful.
Right. She's like, I'm not playing. I'm not playing a game. Mm-hmm. I've resigned to my fate.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one playing games for some reason. Such a wonderful show. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't even know who the showrunner is. What else has he done? Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It's a white guy, the writer of these books too, James Clavell. But it's like some of the best. I mean, he had to have lived in Japan and China for a long time. Yeah. He was a POW in World War II.
Oh,
probably in Japan. Holy crap!
What?
Anyway, James Clavell, the writer. Of the book. I was looking for the showrunner, and I got the writer. But I'm very. I will be following the career of these showrunners, and I will be watching. I will be watching it. It's two guys. It's created by Rachel Kondo and Justin Marks. I don't know if that means they're the showrunners,
or if they were the writers, or maybe first pass.
Yeah.
Crew, yeah. adapters, and then but
Justin Marks
it's a masterclass
is the showrunner, co-creator and showrunner. So I don't know what else he's done, but
in like tension and beautiful.
I don't know. Good job. Oh, well, should we talk about ungentlemanly warfare? Also, can we talk about that? What's his name? Guy Ritchie's 2 releases this year were The Gentleman and The Ungentleman.
That's awesome. That's actually a good point. Yeah. Yep.
That is really awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna.
Yeah, peace out. But go watch this movie. It's the true story of James Bond.
Yeah. It's so
Sounds
good.
great.
It's a James Bond movie and a World War II drama.
I might only go up to 8 out of 10 on this.
No, shut up.
But
Okay. I gotta go. Good night.
It's at least a 9 out of 10.
yeah, to me, it's not that it does the big. So for me, there's not that there's anything wrong with it, but it didn't blow my mind. But it was still really, really good. Does that I still really, really enjoyed it. Does that kind of make sense there? I don't know.
Nope, doesn't make any sense to me.
I will say my favorite scene is when we're first introduced to Henry Cavill's character. Is it Gus? Whatever Henry Cavill's name is, the character.
Oh, it's a French name. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, man. The Gentleman series is good, and the Ungentleman movie is good too.
It's very good, very good. But where he walks into the room and they say, "Here, pour yourself some tea," and he looks at the tea, and then he goes over to the alcohol and looks over at Carrie Ellis's character, and Carrie just kind of like, fine. And through that entire conversation, he's like, "Hey, can I have some cigars?" And Carrie Ellis's character is like, "No," and he takes two, three.
Gus March Phillips.
Gus March Phillips, yeah. And then just through that whole thing, as he just
keeps
Carrie
taking
Ellis
more cigars, yeah.
constantly going, "No, stop, just stop it." You could tell Carrie Ellis is doing just such a great job of this. He is so fed up with and does not want this guy to be doing what he's doing, and Henry Cavill just being like, "Yeah, let me do that." And he takes Ian Fleming's lighter, and Ian Fleming is completely clueless until he sees him lighting the cigar with it. He's like, but it's all.
And Carrie Lewis is just like, I mean, do you want to take it back from him? You're welcome to.
But it's all through looks while you're getting this dialogue of them explaining what the mission is, and
it's great.
And his people, and it's like that was such a wonderful.
It's a great use of space. It's exposition and character building at the same time. It's parallel storytelling.
Just gorgeously done.
Multitasking.
And hilarious too. To just see that interaction going on was just gorgeous. Oh, it was awesome. So that was by far my favorite part. Although probably a close second would be the Cleopatra outfit, but I might.
That was a nice part of the. Yeah. That was a nice part of the movie.
Yeah. But man, that so the German dude that ends up as Caesar there, he
Heinrich.
Yeah, with his portrayal and the way he
wonderful. He was wonderful.
Well played.
I'm really enjoying Eliza Gonzalez in Baby Driver was the first movie I saw her in, and
Okay.
I think I've liked everything I've seen her in since.
I don't think I've seen the other things that she's been in.
She's been in a couple things, and I've enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in 3 Body Problem as well.
Oh, there we go. See that's the other one. That's all. I put that on my list of things that I want to try to, catch this one pretty soon.
Right.
But we'll see if I get to it. But
her performance was good, but she is the worst character in 3 Body Problem.
Yeah.
She's awful. She played it well. The writing is what was bad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it was just such a fun. Yeah, it very much was. And the other thing the one like thing that I'll almost give a little bit of a critique to, but it still was cool, was that literally Henry Cavill's character the entire time, all he does is just stroll. He is unbothered.
He glides through the scenes.
And like by the end, I'm almost like, okay, like, is that all you could do? I mean, obviously he leads his men. He's got a good rapport with them and does really good at trying to figure things out. But like, man, that was I was like, okay, all right, come on, yeah, be a little bit more interesting. But that's what you're going for. I'm okay with it. So, yeah. What were some other good things going on in that movie? Just
Henry Cavill was great in it. Alan Ritchson
yep.
was fantastic in it, and the entire time I kept thinking, why did you have to open your freaking mouth and say the stupidest things on Twitter? Because I want to like you so badly, and your performance in this movie is fantastic. He was they implied that, I don't know if they were saying he was gay or if he was just like playing into that scene, but
I kind of thought he was
wonderful.
Either way,
he was. I think he was supposed to be portrayed as a gay guy.
Could be.
But just hilariously acted. Like the opening scene, just with them on the boat, is just too good.
You should kill him. Yes, kill him. He hates Germans.
Henry Cavill's like fake but genuine laugh was. He is such a good actor. Like, beautiful. Hollywood is retarded for not putting Henry Cavill in every movie that exists.
Yeah.
Like it is shocking to me how much Hollywood hates this man.
Yeah. But he's rocking it whenever he's in there, cuz speaking of the end of the scene where you're introduced to him, as he walks out, he's like, "That's a good coat. I got to get me one of those coats." And he walks out with the coat, and then he like offers the cigar to one of the guards.
He was so much fun, and he gets the Nazi coat later, and he wears it for the rest of the movie.
So ridiculous.
Even in scenes where it would be really dumb to be wearing it, where he almost gets shot by his own guy, and he pretends to be a Nazi. He's like, "You are insane!" Like,
yeah. Oh goodness. And they did a great
papers,
job.
Papers, please.
Yeah. They did a great job too of the kind of bait and switch of the like, this is happening early. We got to get to them, and what's going on happening. The plan changing. I guess they did a great job of depicting this idea that the plan changed and going wrong, able to roll with it.
It was great.
Turn on a light for Mark's benefit, as he's calling me out there,
because you're gonna get murdered. No, it was great. It was. It's crazy that it's a true story, because it feels it's a Bond movie. It really has all of the tropes of like, hey, the plan went wrong. Now we got to improvise and do this, and it's wonderful. It's got the femme fatale who's got to seduce. I wish that Eliza's character got to do a little bit more, but it's a true story, so I'm not mad about it. It just with how much they built her up with the gun scene, where she's like, oh, she could outshoot anybody, and then she only gets to shoot one guy, which was satisfying. But even if it wasn't part of the story, maybe show her kill a couple people when the fighting starts.
I mean, they're gonna take liberties. I am curious as to what
I thought they were gonna. I thought she was gonna like get out of her chains herself and do some kung fu or something. And I was actually kind of glad that they didn't do that, because it was a little bit more realistic. But if you're gonna go through the time of showing that she's such a good shot, let her shoot somebody.
Yeah. That was good though.
Her character was great. Oh, the best part of her arc was the lighter.
Yeah, what was going on with that? I'm trying to. Oh, when
she's introduced to Heinrich, and she's flirtatious. She does her job. And then they leave, and the black guy
shook by what they see in the window.
The black guy shows her the black lady that he just murdered, and then she's like, it hits her the reality of the situation she's in, that she's can't get out of now. She's put herself in, and she's trying to light her cigarette, right? And he's like, and then the very next scene, it's her in front of him, and she, it zooms in on her hand, and she, and you can see there's a little stutter, but then she's holding it in front of him.
Yeah,
and like it was just like, oh, like that was just fantastic wordless storytelling.
Yeah,
Mark Clark's sister liked the movie. Well, you should have watched it too. You should have spent some time with your sister.
Listen to your sister; she's a smart woman. Yep.
It's great. It's so fun. I want to go watch it again with my wife. I'm trying. She was busy, so she couldn't do it. But
it is a fun movie.
I think she'd love it too.
Yep. And I will also say one of the other things that I really enjoyed was the music in it, like, was compelling. Like, it got you, like, it's not something that I feel like, I wonder if I were to just hear it out and about. Like, it's not a Pirates movie. It's not Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, this is a cool pump up soundtrack no matter where you're at. But boy, did it really add, like, it beautifully added to the ambiance of the movie. It really got you pumped up and going for it. It was really good too. The music was great there as well. I quite liked it. Oh, trying to think of any negatives that were in there. Like I said, I think I do come away from it not quite mind blown with it. But
I think that's it's still a little bit a symptom of it being a true story and wanting it to stay true, because you get a really good it's not even a finale, really. Like, you get the murders, they just go and kill everybody, and then the finale is them driving away slowly. And so I was like, this isn't the most exciting finale, but it's a true story, and I think they handled that as good as they possibly could have, because it was leading up to it was the most exciting part.
Yep.
And it was a great payoff. And then afterwards, they tried to keep the tension a little bit by, delaying Eliza's character and the black guy, whatever his name was. And so, like, you felt the movie trying to maintain the tension when it was gone. And you're like, but they won. Like, it's over. But, it's still a little bit of tension.
They kind of got a little bit back for me. They again, you knew where it was going to go, so it didn't really have the tension. But when they're arrested and taken aboard the ship, they brought it in, and then they've been in prison like 14 days later. That
was a good bow on the end.
Brought into
that was good.
Churchill says, "Y'all work for me now."
And he gets the roll credits slot. I'm saying the title of the movie now. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I was gonna say because you'll get that where a lot of movies, for whatever reason, there's no need to like hold it off until the end of the movie. Just because if it's a theme of the movie and it happens to be mentioned early on in the movie, then it's fine. It is kind of fun when you have a movie that ends with the title of the movie, where you're like, it's cool that it's come around to that.
That is what helped it for me, because of the slightly unsatisfying nature of the finale. That bow on the end
worked here.
Saved it for me.
Yeah, for me, it worked here. Where what I was driving at was the idea that, like, a lot of movies have gotten to the point where they've kind of forced that in to be the case, and that's why I watch the Everything Wrong with for a bunch of movies all the time. And it's one of his tropes or whatever that he calls out is roll credits, because we've seen we hear the movie title, even though it's 5 minutes in, that means the movie's done, right? But this one, I think it worked out pretty well. So I almost want to see him do roll credit. Oh, really are rolling credits here. Oh, okay.
That's how I would do it. It might not make a lot of money, but I'm hoping good word of mouth. I mean, there were some other, like Civil War and there's another movie this weekend, but I think it only made $9 million.
Challengers isn't out this week; it's next week, right? The Zendaya.
I don't care. Why would I know that?
I'm just saying that one might pull away from this a little bit. Not too much.
I don't think the same people are going to be watching both of those movies.
Yeah, it's not quite as much of an overlap, but just to your point of other movies opening up,
Right.
might pull away in general. If there are people who want to see all movies, like I try to see all the movies as I can. Or,
it made $9 million this weekend. We don't have Sunday numbers, obviously.
Yeah.
A bit of a slow start. I'm guessing maybe 12, but the real weekend numbers are probably going to be 12 million.
So the 9 million, is that not including the estimates for Sunday, or is it also including the estimates for Sunday?
I don't know.
I know they estimate until like sometime in the middle of the day, Monday, that they get the actuals in.
Right. So it's not good on a $60 million budget. But again, $60 million budget, that's a good budget comparative to
Yeah, I mean, that's a remarkably manageable budget. But that's not a good start.
It's much better than
make 20 to 30
than a Marvel movie.
To make that
back. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't understand why people don't like Guy Ritchie movies more. Like, he's had several flops at the box office, but he makes amazing movies. But yeah, it might not perform super well. This is the type of movie that could benefit from word of mouth. Like, it could have a better second weekend, and I hope that it does, because I'm literally telling everyone to go see it.
It really is very good. I will say too, when I've looked in my app for the movies that I'm gonna go try to find it, I keep on looking at the poster for that and thinking it's Solo, a Star Wars story, because it's the same.
It looks like Inglourious Bastards to me.
Oh yeah, well it's got a very Inglourious Bastards feel from what I hear. I haven't seen Inglourious Bastards either, but it's one that I intend to see.
It's a similar poster.
So I saw The Covenant and I liked that one. I didn't see Operation Fortune or
Operation Fortune is fun. It's not as good as The Gentleman, the movie. But it's fun. It's worth watching.
I meant to go see Operation Fortune, but
I really liked The Covenant. It's definitely a more. I understand why that one didn't make a lot of money. Although I think both of those movies were both digital releases, though. Like, he made them specifically for some streaming platforms.
That could be, but I think they did get a theatrical exclusive window, even if they were made for. I feel like Operation Fortune was made for like Apple or Amazon, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was one where they had.
I haven't seen Wrath of Man. That one went like directly to streaming as well.
The Gentleman I haven't seen. I saw Aladdin. Don't think I saw King Arthur. I think I saw both of them.
King Arthur is one of the biggest box office bombs of all time.
I think I've heard that.
I really like it.
Okay, yeah.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. is fantastic as well. It was a bomb. It didn't lose as much money, because it didn't spend as much money, but it did not make. And that's Henry Cavill in it too.
Yep.
And it's really good. And it's not. It made zero money. His Sherlock Holmes movies were financially successful.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I'm looking at all of his movies and I'm like, as much as none of these movies have I heard particularly bad. I've mostly heard good things about almost all of these movies. But to your point, like, Man from U.N.C.L.E. wasn't super successful. King Arthur, massive flop.
But it was
The Gentleman. I don't think it was particularly successful. Operation Fortune wasn't particularly successful. The Covenant, Gentleman Warfare is not looking like it's going to be great. Like,
yeah,
I am.
The thing is, though, like, his older movies are infamous, and they're the ones I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking, but they're like cult classics.
Yeah. But do we know if they were successful? That's the thing. It sounds like all of his movies are loved and beloved by those who watch them, but maybe not successful. And so it makes me surprised and actually very glad that Hollywood and people are still taking enough of a risk on him to give him money to make movies like this. Because from what I'm seeing, I enjoy all of his movies. None of them have been bad, but they're not financially successful. And I get if somebody would say,
I think you'd like Operation Fortune. It's pretty fun. It's a fun one.
And I remember enjoying the Sherlock Holmes one. So having not seen a lot of his movies, I feel like I do like his style for the most part. Like, I think it has a very fun, kinetic style from what I have experienced of it and what I hear others talk about from him. So, yeah. Good stuff. I'll have to check out some more of those. Maybe that's another one of those things that we can shove in one of these weeks if we feel like it's a slow week. Is get
Some
one of
his,
these
his older
classic
stuff.
Lock, Stock, and Snatch or something.
Yeah, I do need to watch them. What was the other one? I had a thought, and then you were talking.
I do that. It happens a lot.
That's okay.
Over.
It's gone.
Rock and roll.
But yeah, Man from U.N.C.L.E. is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too. Do you think there's any chance that Henry Cavill will come out as the next Bond?
No, there's not a chance they cast him as Bond. He should be, but he won't be.
He'd be a great
but
Bond.
of all of these movies that we're talking about, like the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, like feels like the kind of movie that should be commercially successful. Like a lot of his main style, like The Gentleman, it's these crime thrillers, right? Which are great and people love them. They're not going to make $1 billion in theaters, but like this one could. It's a James Bond movie. It's better than the last 6 James Bond movies that we've gotten. Probably like the last 8.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway,
Speaking
go
of
see
my
it.
movie
really good.
gaps, I've only seen Dr. No and Skyfall.
Dude, I'm really sad because I actually did this right before I started my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I noticed that like Amazon had all of the Bond movies for free on and it was literally like a year before I started my YouTube channel. I watched them all in order, and it was one of the funnest experiences I've ever had because I'd already seen the Daniel Craig ones as they came out, and I'd seen the last
Sean Connery.
No, the one before. I'm tired. Daniel Craig. What's his face? I know it's Die Another Day. I have to Google it. James Bond.
Brosnan.
Huh?
Pierce Brosnan.
I'd seen that one, right?
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen any of the other Bond movies. So I watched them all in order, and I should have documented the process, and I want to do it again, but it was. I loved doing it, and it was fascinating, and I should do a whole series on it, because the most rewarding part of doing that is it was like reading a history book. It was a history book of American. Not American. It was a history book of modern cinema, because it's the same formula every single time, but done differently every single time to reflect the movies of the era in which it was made. So it's literally the exact same movie made about 5 years apart since starting in the 60s and going to the current day. It was wonderful to experience.
I bet. That's the exact intention I had why I've seen Dr. No, because when Skyfall came out, I believe I went to the theater for that one, but I hadn't seen any of the previous ones. And so my dad had bought a box set of all 25 at the time. And it actually had, I think, an open spot for Skyfall to go. And so I was like, I'm going to start at Dr. No and watch them from the beginning. You should. Kept going with the rest of them. So
Goldfinger is one of the best, easily top 5. It's done really well, and it has the funniest opening sequence of all time. Okay, I'm gonna spoil it. It's James Bond kissing a woman, but she's a baddie. Okay, so he's making out with her, and he pulls back and sees in the reflection of her eyeball a baddie coming up behind him about to stab him, and so he spins her around, and she gets punched in the face.
Oh my god.
It is the best action sequence of all. It's so freaking good.
Man. That's hilarious.
Ugh.
That'll be a
He
fun
didn't.
one.
I don't think he had a knife. He was just coming up behind, and he
Yeah, it's gonna get him.
kisses, sees the reflection in her eyeball, spins her around. Bah!
Oh man.
Oh, wonderful. But my favorite Bonds are the ones that didn't get any movies.
Hmm.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think, is my favorite Bond movie, and that's he only got one film. It was a George Lazenby. Lazenby.
Yeah.
I think that's by far the best Bond movie.
Isn't that the one that they did the actual same story, but they had Sean
No.
Connery do it unapproved or something? Like they did a
No, that one is Casino Royale.
Oh, okay.
And that's not
were they done.
that is Sean Connery in that one? Hold on. So that was a Bond movie, but it wasn't made by not Criterion. The guys who owned it.
Yeah. they were
What's the company? Was Sean Connery in Casino Royale? So that there was a rights dispute.
Oh, okay.
And they passed it off as a parody. But it was just adapting Casino Royale.
Because it had because it was after Connery had left and they'd gotten the new who was right
That's
after
it. So you're confusing two different things. I don't think I'm 99% sure Sean Connery is not in Casino Royale. What happened is they replaced Sean Connery with George Lazenby.
Okay.
And then brought Sean Connery back for Diamonds Are Forever.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure if that was the spoof movie that they had to consider a spoof,
Right.
but he came back for the spoof.
So On Her Majesty's Secret Service was not as successful, even though it's the best one. And so they're like, oh, we want to get Sean Connery back. Sean Connery didn't want to come back. He was like, I'm getting too old for this. It's getting creepy. Well, he didn't say creepy. That was actually the next one, whose name is it's because I'm tired and my brain isn't working at 100%, but I keep forgetting people's names. It's
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Yeah, so Roger Moore was in the most Bond movies, and by the end he was like, this is getting creepy. I'm in relationships with 20-year-olds and I'm like 50. But Sean Connery had similar feelings. So he wanted to be done. They replaced him with George Lazenby, which wasn't quite as successful, and then they offered him a whole bunch of money to come back, and so he's like, okay, but he only came back for one.
Gotcha.
So he did, and that's his worst. What Diamonds Are Forever is awful.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
From what I was seeing, by the way, both Casino Royale and Thunderball have apparently been adapted twice. Into two different movies.
Thunderball was also adapted twice. You're right.
Thank you.
I
Cora.
forget why that one happened.
So Casino Royale was adapted for the small screen in '54. I don't know. Is that a different thing?
That's when they brought Sean Connery. So Sean Connery was in Never Say Never Again, which is Thunderball.
Okay.
It's the same. They adapted the same book, and that one also. I haven't seen that one. I should watch it.
Yeah, Never Say Never Again. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because they were. Yeah, there's a story behind that, and I forget what the exact was. That one was made in '83, and the original Thunderball was made in '65. So they were trying to do the story better. I should watch that one if I've seen all the Bond movies. Yeah. So I loved George Lazenby, and I was sad they kind of screwed him over to try and get Sean Connery to come back, and he only stayed for one movie. Then it was Roger Moore. And Live and Let Die is fantastic. He had a couple good ones, and then they get a little cheesy.
My understanding with the Pierce Brosnan ones, they get a little cheesy, but that speaks to your point about like how it kind of is emblematic of the times, because you got some really goofy, and that's where you had some of the spoof movies really coming up in the like late 80s, 90s kind of time period. You got some weird hijinks, yeah.
But then to finish my original point, my second favorite Bond is Timothy Dalton, who only got 2 movies. He was right. He was right before Pierce Brosnan.
Okay, yeah.
And The Living Daylights and License to Kill they're perfect. They're so good.
Nice.
And then the first couple, like GoldenEye, was a really great start with Pierce Brosnan, and then it just got every subsequent film just got cheesier and cheesier until you end with Die Another Day, which is just like, it feels like a parody of itself.
Yeah. Well, by that time, you're probably just starting to get some of those parody movies, like even
Right.
Kids or whatever else. Like anytime you can get some kind of weird, goofy gadget that you can put in there, you know.
And so they hard reset with Daniel Craig, and they go too far.
Yeah.
Like I think the Daniel Craig I think their Casino Royale is an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a bad Bond movie. Like it's just way too serious.
One of the guys I listen to online that talks about it, that's a huge Bond fan, is he hates that, like, with Daniel Craig's Bond, he's just always hating being Bond. Like, you get him becoming Bond in Casino Royale, and the rest of it is him trying to be like, I'm done.
Even in Casino Royale, he quits.
You get like, you're like, I want you to enjoy being Bond for a little bit. So like, even though like they can be enjoyable movies overall, like I can see how that would really.
George Lazenby was before and after Daniel Craig.
Right.
Daniel Craig, Sean Connery.
Yeah. So that tracks to me what I'm hearing. So again, not speaking from my own experience, but that's.
I should rewatch them and do a whole series.
Yeah.
There were only a few that are like so bad they're almost unwatchable, which is like Diamonds Are Forever and Die Another Day and Quantum of Solace.
Heard really bad things about that one. Yep.
But most of them are pretty enjoyable.
What was the second to last Craig one? There was
it was Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, which is
Spectre.
terrible.
I heard that one was also pretty.
It's bad.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. Not as bad as Quantum of Solace, but I don't know why it exists.
Yep.
And then No Time to Die is like, this could have been a good movie if you didn't make it woke.
Yeah. But that's the one after.
It's like the staircase fight scene in No Time to Die is terrific.
Yeah.
And then it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, I was going to say that the previous one was the one that got Craig saying like that he would rather crawl over broken glass than come back as Bond. And so they gave him lots of money to cover that broken glass with, so he could crawl.
Yeah,
over.
Mark Luck. He only got one movie. It was On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but they brought Connery back after him, so he was sandwiched between Sean Connery, even though he only had one movie.
A Sean Connery sandwich.
That sounds like a nice thing. But yeah, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is my favorite one, and then Living Daylights and License to Kill, they're identical to me. I think they're both fantastic. And I love Casino Royale. It's a great movie. It's kind of a bad Bond movie, but my other favorites were I already mentioned Goldfinger. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch them. So they kind of blend together. But Goldfinger's fantastic.
It's like they're the same story over and over again. Wait, that's what you said earlier. Yeah. So.
Goldeneye's pretty good. Pussy Galore. Yeah. Octopussy's pretty good.
Yeah, I might have mixed up Goldeneye and Goldfinger because I was talking about the video game that came off of that. But
Octopussy is pretty good. I did like Skyfall as well.
Yeah, I like Skyfall. Again, I've only seen Dr. No and Skyfall, so
not a great Bond movie, but a good movie.
Oh.
Yeah, Thunderball was not great. Live and Let Die is really good.
Great song, for sure.
And I like it's silly, but I really like Moonraker.
I've heard that one's pretty, because that's one of the Pierce Brosnan ones, right?
No, it's Roger Moore.
Oh, it's Roger Moore. Okay, yeah. But I think I've heard that one's pretty goofy. Yeah. I think they watch it in the Black Widow movie, I think. And then people have drawn parallels with that. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I should do it. I should rewatch all of them and do a whole series on YouTube. So
If you do,
isn't that that's the name of a character? Pussy Galore.
at that point, you're throwing
Oh, the 80s.
your entendre.
Ah, the 80s. I miss the. Anyway, that's probably it for the show. Next week we've got the finale of Shogun, which it's gonna be a thing. I think that's all we have to talk about, actually,
Maybe.
because we were supposed to be talking about Fallout Episode 3.
Is anything else coming out? I guess theoretically, if any of the rest of us
And the
catch up
Jinx.
on those,
And Jinx Part 2.
Yeah.
So I gotta watch it today. I'm watching it tonight, baby.
Nice. Yeah. The first episode of it just dropped tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. I squealed.
Yeah.
I had no one had any idea it was coming. And they dropped it on YouTube, and I made some sounds. But I'm excited for the Jinx Part 2. Album update. It's close. It's close. We're working on the last song, and then we just got to go through and do final looks, and it should be done soon. So it'll take a couple weeks to once I submit it, it'll take a couple weeks before it's released digitally, and it'll take a couple weeks. I'm gonna have physical copies too. So if you Mark, if you show up to Dragonsteel, I'll give you a physical copy for free, baby. But I have some
being a channel subscriber or member, not just subscriber, member.
I found a nice printer. Because I want to have physical copy for myself. But I'll have some that I'm selling at Dragonsteel. I'll have a QR code, and it's gonna be done this year. I'm hoping next month, but we all know how that's worked in the past. So,
Yep.
So there, and it's not on me anymore, and I can't ask other people to work faster when they're working for free. So,
Yep.
my
All right.
contribution is done. It's sounding really good.
It's good to hear. Well, I'm excited to hear it. It'll be
Thank you
fun.
for your patience and your patronage. We love you, Mark Clark. I think you're the only one watching the show right now.
Probably.
We'll see you next week when we talk about Shogun episode 10, and my head might be shaved, but you guys got to do your work.
Put it out there.
I'm not putting it I'm not going to do it.
Maybe we'll talk to your wife. Maybe she'll. No, that's right.
She saw David posted on Facebook. I was hoping she wouldn't find out.
I saw her comment on it, and I wanted to at her back and say sorry. I don't remember if I actually ended up commenting or not, but I was like, sorry, but we have to.
I didn't tell her.
Oh,
Anyway, see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. I just got to make sure I did switch the outro. Okay, bye.
So long. Farewell.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining. So please consider joining Patreon.